Let me take this time to say good morning and good morning to the entire world. Welcome to the Groovin Radio experience live on Irie Jam Radio, Hot 97.1 FM HD3. I say thanks to the Irie Jam family for allowing Groovin Radio to be a part of this family, the family that has been doing radio for over 30 years right here in the Caribbean diaspora. How was your week and how did you get your weekend started? Tomorrow will be the month of March. Let me also take this time to say thanks to the preceding presentation. That was Island Flavor Radio live on Irie Jam Radio with my brother from another mother, the Bajan King, ladies and gentlemen, kicking off the morning live with some great music from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. when the Groovin Radio experience take over, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it is getting down to the end of, as a matter of fact, today is the last day of February, ladies and gentlemen, last day of Black History Month. So we say Black history is really American history. A little bit of weather before we go any further this morning. New York City, it is 33 degrees on the outside with some high clouds. The high temperatures for the day will just be around 44 degrees. The cloud rolls in early, sunshine later on today. The sun will set this evening just around 5:46 p.m. Then this evening, then overnight tonight, we will see the temperatures dropping down to 31 degrees with some cloud, and this comes right before daybreak. The sun will rise at 6:32 a.m. in the morning. Then Sunday's temperatures, we are looking at 37 degrees with a 55% chance for some light snow. Monday, 28 degrees with some bright sunshine. Tuesday, we're looking at 41 degrees with cloud and a 85% chance for some rain. Midweek Wednesday, 50 degrees with a 75% chance for more rain for your day. Thursday, we are looking at 48 degrees, 28 degrees and high winds and a 75% chance for, yes, more rain. And closing out the weekend Friday, 48 degrees with cloud, ladies and gentlemen. A quick look at next weekend's weather, which will be the first full week of March and the first full weekend in March. Next week, Saturday, 57 degrees with cloud and high winds and a 35% chance for some rain. Sunday, next week, will be 58 degrees with cloud, high winds, and another 50% chance for some rain. Folks, full joy this beautiful split weekend. Saturday is February. Sunday is March as we roll into a new month. We are so blessed to be here this Saturday morning. Be very careful, be mindful, and be respectful of each other. Once again, you are locked into the Groovin Radio experience live on Irie Jam Radio. Let me now quickly remind you that Groovin Radio comes your way courtesy of your favorite online store. That is Kingston Corner Shop. That is corner with a K. KingstonCornerShop.com, ladies and gentlemen, is keeping the Jamaican and Caribbean families and communities connected to their roots and culture with some classic Jamaican and Caribbean products. www.KingstonCornerShop.com. Groovin Radio also comes your way courtesy of Irie Jam Radio. The legacy continues. Irie Jam Radio is celebrating over 30 years of Caribbean radio broadcasts here in the Caribbean diaspora in the United States. To advertise on Irie Jam Radio, the hotline number for the office is 1-800-277-1462. That is 1-800-277-1462. Groovin Radio also comes your way courtesy of Bullseye Marketing and Promotion. If you have a product you'd like to get marketed, if you have a event that you'd like to get marketed, look no further than Bullseye Marketing and Promotion. Their hotline number is 347-449-7848. That is 347-449-7848. Let me now give you a program rundown. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me now give you a program rundown. Up next is going to be our musical presentation. And this morning, our musical presentation is brought to you by KingstonCornerShop.com. We are going into Kingston, Jamaica this Saturday morning, the birthplace. We're going to be paying a musical visit to the birthplace of the legendary Grammy winner from Jamaica. He is DJ. He's a DJ who was born on August 22nd, 1973. He began toasting at the age of 5 years old. He was born Moses Anthony Davis. A few years ago, he was bestowed with national honors of OD, the king of the dancehall. He's called,
no
ladies
jokes
and
today.
gentlemen,
If you want to laugh,
Man,
check
the
your bank
girl them
account.
Sugar is music right here on Groovin Radio. It is followed by our community engagement segment, where this morning the Friends of the Garvey School, they're inviting you to celebrate her story. Her story is in recognition of Trailblazing Woman. It takes place on Friday, March 27th. Garvey School founder, Miss June O'Connor, is going to be joining us. After the 10 o'clock hour, we're going down to Jamaica to join the Jamaica Information Services for the news. And the news is brought to you this Saturday morning by White T-shirt and Blue Jeans. It's being presented, and the news will be presented by Miss Joy Kelly. Anthony Turner will then follow with his entertainment report. And then after entertainment report, we're going to be moving into Mic Check, our featured presentation, sparking global changes, ladies and gentlemen. Black churches served as the cornerstone in the civil rights movement by providing central meeting spaces, organizing logistics for protests, and offering essential emotional and spiritual support to activists, building communities, building solidarity. Where are the black churches today, ladies and gentlemen? And what is the role the black churches should be playing today? We will be joined this morning by Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson from Ebenezer Urban Minister Center down there in Brooklyn. And then we'll close out the morning with Open Forum Community Talk. Yes, it's Reggae Month. It's Black History Month. You see the role that the Jamaican diaspora played in the development of Jamaica? Now, the big question is, culturally, ladies and gentlemen, what role should the diaspora be playing culturally and musically in developing culture and music in Jamaica? Joining me this morning will be veteran broadcaster and music historian Mr. Stan Smith will join us right here on Groovin Radio. That is your program rundown. Before we get into our musical presentation, the Wall Street Journal broke the news overnight that the United States of America, along with Israel, has now strike Iran. The U.S. and Israel said they have launched an attack on Iran. President Donald Trump confirmed a major combat operation against the regime, and he urges Iranians to take over their government. As the strike continues, what is the end game here? What is the end game here, ladies and gentlemen? Is this a distraction from the next piece of news I will give you? Well, CNN, former President Donald Trump and First Lady, former President Bill Clinton and First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton testified to a congressional committee on Thursday and Friday. Hillary was in on Thursday. Bill Clinton was in on Friday of this week on the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. They set a precedent, ladies and gentlemen, that President Donald Trump may never come back from and may live to regret this. This is said by Stephen Collinson. Will President Donald Trump next to go before this congressional committee? Well, I said AI is taking over. CNBC News is reporting that Blocks, yes, has laid off half its staff because of AI, ladies and gentlemen. So said the CEO of the company. Half the staff is gone. And I wonder why. You're locked in to the experience, the Groovin Radio experience, that is. It is now time for our musical presentation.
Welcome to the world of musical sounds. moment, you will meet someone who will take you on a mysterious journey in which you will get to know the best genres of music from all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
Ras Clem.
Glorious be to the Most High. Rastafari. Whoa, na 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 na. Hey, it's a snare rabbit. I just still I send them well. Play music feed them well. See the Christian we call them, yeah. Cause all the devil control them. Slide. I still I send them well. Cause music we play them, yeah. Mr. Robbie, my best them well. Taxi gang come tell them say that. Well, Mr. Sly, well, music we are play, we are jump over jungle. Jump down a TG Ream and them need a talk to. All Ream and them with the cool and none for hunger. Put down all the gun and leave the train and all the bunker. Cause I will be ready for the people. All Rasta man and Boba man we all attack to. Style them and play, we are leaking out the evil. Come down taxi gang, come play a filly. Music man. Now, you know what? Taxi gang. I send them well. Music will lead them. And the Christian we call them well.
Someone say enough girl and girl in a bungle. Girl from Rima, girl from jungle. Enough girl and none of them must say gumble. All get Toyota enough to take me example of. Enough girl and girl in a bungle. Girl from Rima, girl from jungle. Enough girl and none of them must say gumble. All get Toyota enough to take me example. This is not work again. Go one man for have all 50 girlfriend. You start drink road, start drink it again. You have to have a stamina for service them. When me talk about enough girl,
Same culture with some classic Jamaican and
one girl can't make the team neither. Two girl can't fulfill me dream. So me have to make a walk over for more steam. Y'all give me money, y'all keep me clothes clean. Y'all for cook, y'all for press, y'all stitch me, y'all body in someone for y'all. Enough y'all and y'all in a bundle. Y'all from Rima, y'all from jungle. Enough y'all and none of them must be gumble. I'll get Toyota enough to take me example.
Yes, sire. Some girl I move like them a killer, but them have a circle and the tarantula. Yes, sire. I've been a man on 2002 there. But what? Hey, women are never shy. Put it behind them eye. Women are suited and internet. Them really want to take your guy. Women are never bow. Put it behind them now. You get a loot and them and them a shoot and them and them got to make it for now. And women are ever hot. Cause you're on the spot, you base about them rich and black up. And them cast, you need them in the hand. You're not for use can talk. Cause you're probably fast, you fuck up a gun. You're man off the ball and then you must call your box. So tell me what you want. Please. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you. Good enough for you. Yeah. Tell me what you want. Please. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you. Good enough for you, baby. Yeah. No girl no want a man we stuck. Nah. Them want a man we know they walk. Yeah. She want a man fi hold her up, zip her up in a bed and give her pay bed work. Yeah. No want no man we a jerk. No. She want a man we know they work. Yeah. She want a man fi work her hard, make she run up to the yard and migrate from the earth. But you see you know, oh lad. See the man and dance man for all the girls. That's your really say, man.
he was born Moses Anthony Davis, the Grammy winner. Beanie Man.
you next time. Right? Take it easy. God bless you.
Musically, live on Groovin Radio.
And he say, inna your shield him go and shoot be in him long so. Then him go and drive him car on your road. Cause him done already have your road code. Y'all are going to take me chalk and mark up your blackboard. So yes again. He say, hey look who girl where you flex like that lava. Long time me get a figure warm up your water. Put me you garage make me drive in me tanker. Y'all know me name Caesar. Hold on, this time me have to hold the girl them stronger. The girl them want the loving and them want it longer. The girl them want Max Twin cause I am a them driver. Them want Mr. B because I am a them liar. The girl don't want ginger, she only want ninja. The girl them want a man that tough like Doberman pincher. And when they come to loving me, the girl them ask for but Hans man come out so I feel the girls and me cry. Gonna leave me.
Warm and easy. Warm and easy.
I've been waiting for. Being a man
can't listen nothing else but Irish jam.
Not a mercy, not a mercy.
We got the chase those crazy bullets out of town.
Well, I said no for them.
We're going to you now.
Chase those crazy bullets out of town.
We are going to you now. Hey.
Cause I and I built the cabin.
Let me go down to South Florida. Maxi D, good morning.
My people before me slave for this country.
Didn't they?
Sing that I'm a black king, prison like a white kid.
Right.
Living in a white man world. False education, destroying nation. What? Mashing up for boys and girls. Cause all the rich man face is only modernization. While the youth man in the ghetto face operation.
Damn crazy.
The job to get them money and them right and fi mind all themselves. With them picnic and them woman. You them have a tendency to turn to them one. You put down your gun and put your trust in the Almighty One. Luciana, my virgin, come down, come sing your song.
We're closing out Reggae Month. We're closing out Black History Month with one of the most versatile dancehall DJs to come out of Jamaica, Moses Anthony Davis, aka Beanie Man.
Get that jam, make me hear it sound.
Get that jam, make me run down road.
Get that jam, make me hear it sound.
Tanisha, good morning. Indeed.
Get that jam, make me hear it sound.
Me with them I go to fi move up Marley crown.
Get that jam,
JB, good morning.
The music where we love another
Susan Jones, good morning.
When the music hits, when
Hey.
the music hits.
Computer Mike, Eva, good morning. Sharon John, good morning, my friend. Aisha Richards, good morning. Hey, Dance Master, morning. Janet Henry, morning. Dr. France Jasmine, good morning. There's you, checking in. Dr. Butner, good morning. Trevor Dixon, my friend Dr. Trevor Dixon. Maxine Greaves. Hey. Outdoor on purpose. Tanisha Malcolm. It's getting warm. Hey. Sure. That's right. Hey. True, true.
But me will take on your whole family, boy. You take me simple, but not take man for school. You want to ride, go get a donkey or a mule.
True, true.
You want to ride, you know on your own.
The Joyride Rhythm. Hey. Cho. Anne Marie Ramsey, how are you? Hey. Cho.
When I listen to music, it's only Irie Jam I listen to. We're talking about Irie Jam is
machine they are in labor. If you ever make a rising machine, you have to run when the ears still are clean. Because we thought that we had get clean. And we will wipe out a husband scheme, boy. Me on a fuck, me on a bag, me on a star. Man on a hug, man on a tag, man on a star. Me on a house, me on a land, me on a car. Me love me God and we not stay far.
Sure.
The way them girls are nice and pretty, full of witty, then I gritty, me I go put them on me bookshelf, yes. And now one of the whole community in the city, then I kitchen, I go share with nobody else. Now with them girls are nice and pretty, full of witty, then I gritty, me I go put them on me bookshelf, yes. And now one of the whole community in the city, then I kitchen, I go share with nobody else. Now anytime me I go pour them, same time me I go when they rip off the no, that's who the bad. That's who the bad. That's who the bad. Them, so we have to tour them, take them all over to LA. Then after we have to store them, anytime we lure them, to take a ride along the freeway. With them getting nice and pretty, full of witty, then I gritty, me have to put them on the bookshelf, yes. And I want the whole community in the city, then I kitchen, I go share with nobody else. And with them getting nice and pretty, full of witty, then I gritty, man, I go put them on the bookshelf, yes. Oh, na 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 na.
Big good morning to the Bajan King and family. Who got the key to my bimmer?
Who am I? The girls them sugar. How can I make love to a fella in a rush? Pass me the keys to my trucks. Who am I? The girls them lock. And I, we make love to pressure. Good morning. Draw for your nigga like your nigga can't stitch it. Draw for your oxen like a cow, you wanna chop it. Draw for your pickaxe like a gun, you wanna dig it. It's like a riverside up on the bank and you take it. It's like a bicycle, so you hold it and dash it. So you watch it, so you crash it. She a tell you, say you grab it. Girl, she a beg you wanna ball, take it, stop it. Batman plug in and me a move like a electric. It's like a basketball, she take time out, she vomit. Listen to me silent, listen to me lyrics. I be the man, they and me a drop it. I said, Simma. Who got the keys to my bimmer? The girls them sugar.
Got you, cuz. I got you.
To a fella in a rush. Pass me the keys to my trucks. Who am I? The girls them lock. And I, we make love to pressure. Yes, sir. Back down, slim llama. Anything we do. Send them all the laws and come, send the champion them come. Make them know say till a man in the doctor no go down. Who can stand it better run? Now no time to give me bone. This blood when you bought this loaded magnum. Well, the girl them a rush because them love how me say. Take a president from to them highway. In a me mansion them want complain. But I want thing me got this me no bum. Woman think me much up and swear say me drunk. Me yarn and me crackers eyes as on me come. Girl put me to the test and swear me a go flung. I get me want to catch her in a me bum. Make she wine baby wine same time me a pump. Now every girl me a go help you over the hump. The whole sugar cane girl sweeter than the bum. A 500 watt me a chump. Send the girl as them come send the champion.
You're locked into the Hit Factory, Irie Jam Radio.
Who can stand it better run? Can I time to give me bone? This flood when you bought this loaded magnum. Well, honorable. It's just dancing.
It is just dancing. It is just music. It is the Groovin Radio experience. Live on Irie Jam Radio. Every Saturday morning, starting live at 9 a.m.
I don't know why black wizard love it so. And I need more roses, fine and new stem. Brand new dance, where we have a mad. I kill all of them roses, fine and new stem. A whirl a dance, we come to teach them. It's like foot, so the boy stay down the gully, stand a pussy shocking vibe, jet him a do the tatty. Taking me little bit and ain't so lucky. When him a whirl without pity. I am my future kicks, not the butterfly can't quit. Come on. dance on the city. I follow it. Sure. It's a very large one. Sure. Just another one. Yeah, just another. It's another. Welcome the girls, them sugar. The girl, them ladies, nigga, yeah. Welcome the girl, them sugar. The girl, them ladies, nigga, yeah. Welcome the girls, them sugar. The girl, them ladies, nigga, yeah. Welcome the girls, them sugar. The girl, them ladies, nigga. Excuse me, baby, but I really just have to tell you this. It's been a while, I'm admiring your tenderness. Your Coca-Cola back shape and all your cherry lips. And you alone, no one to love up and then make kiss. I'm just addicted to you, but that's why I want to eat. I want to show you I'm a man that you're romantic. Nothing got to miss.
I reach out on real Caribbean radio.
They tell them I sing this, but you make it. Welcome the girls and sugar. The girls and the
Welcome the girls and
sugar. The girls and the oh na 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 na. Oh na 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 na. Oh na na na.
It's all about.
Oh na 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 na.
It's all about. It's all about. Yes, I guess that's what he said, cuz I guess that's what I'm doing. That's right.
What the boy owe me, him argument show me, him gal want blow me to chase and me blew me. Me here now you owe me, have 15 auntie. Me check it out deep down to the grandma what. Me sorrow got the boy got me, the boy bad mind me. That's why me argument Japan all row me, and him big fat sister now yo me. The two of them claims that them know me, and them argument show me. That boy then him row me, and him big fat sister now yo me. The two of them claims that them know me, and them argument. But what I know. Old dog like we have to have them in a 2 and 3.
Old dog like we. Old dog like we.
Old dog like we have to have them in a 2 and 3.
True.
Everybody know we wild already.
Hey.
From me see a girl look good, me have to fool her and get where we want. Can me no live on a short road, so me have to bounce her. And now can me have a fast road like Patra. And the one lady star. And me dey about the hot crew where you have danger. Give me the girl, let me the wickedest love. The kind of girl we no feel love up she man. Man if you want to get the medal, you have to get a slum from a real ghetto girl again. Give me the girl, let me the wickedest slum.
That's what dancehall is.
Man if you want to get the medal, you have to get a slum from a
Asian King. Morning. Big good morning to the fam, my friend. Maxwell.
Man, if you love your girlfriend to ya,
Hey.
but you're not getting slam where you want. Only for things can go on if you hide. Go look at junglist, girl, from the side car. Yeah, you mean? Me a don't have me back a girl in a me new Suzuki. You never expect nothing big and spooky. Now the girl can't look in a me face, girl. No, she lose the rate. Girl come rapping a me new Suzuki. She never expect nothing big and spooky. Now the girl can't look in a me face, girl. No, she lose the rate. Well on, me don't feel go so that I'm not self-praise. Me tell the girl say girl no put your tongue in a me head. Just so you make me stop me right. Let me weak in a me knees. Don't me know me business. You want okay. Look how me tell the girl she don't be playing on me dear. She wanna till me free frontier. And me's a wanna really care. If me baby mother here, send me and a girl a be a beer and severe. You saw me tell the girl she don't be bet me free. But I like when me a talk and girl a kiss me. I get she get me in a heat. Now me and her off the lead. 2 does defend me to sit there down the street. It's a being cheating. Oh no no.
Dugga. Hey. Let him go.
Every night
Let him go.
I you know say I hears him, I hears. Just if your man not do it right, let him go. And him come in and I bite.
Groovin Radio. We'll make your butt up. Just keep the groove going on and on and on and on. Groovin Radio.
Hey.
And then you sit down and relax. Here's a miss row. Can't run away a stage show. Here's a man have a round and bend low. Scrape up on knee and scrape up on toe. And she a bend down low. So girl, if your man a give you problem, let him go. And your boyfriend a niggy, let him go. Cause every night him come in, niggy, and your ears, and your nose say your ears, him a ears.
Barry G's on the go with a half time for Groovin Radio. Hosted by Ras Clem. Catch it if you can. Saturdays, 9 a.m.
Praise him. Praise him. So let's make this the final one this Saturday morning. Apologies are in line, but that's how it goes sometime. That's right. It's dancehall music, man. So we're gonna praise him and close out this segment. That's right. Hey. Hey. That's right.
Groovin Radio. We'll make your butts up. Just keep the groove going on and on and on and on. Groovin Radio.
Indeed. Indeed.
Oh my God. You make me feel so good.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that interlude of music, which was brought to you by your favorite online store, that is KingstonCornerShop.com. The music of Moses Anthony Davis, Order of Distinction. The man started toasting at the tender age of 5 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He is known as the Girl Dem Sugar, the king of the dancehall. And whoever wants to argue that conversation, Beenie Man, in my book, is definitely the king of the dancehall. Let me take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will be talking about, indeed, Her Story brought to you by Friends of the Garvey School.
Wait in town and tell the people.
It's a newly renovated VP record store located at 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. We have a wide array of music for you to choose from: reggae, soca, gospel, and rocksteady. We also stock specialty gift items, arts, books, CDs, and vinyl. And for that trendy individual, check out our rhythm-driven clothing. Visit us today, VP Record Store, 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. Open Monday to Friday, 11 to 7 p.m. And on Saturdays, 10 to 7 p.m. Call us today, 718-297-5802. That's 718-297-5802.
Brand new!
Lord, me picnic gone all the way to Missouri. I mean, no know how him a eat at daytime because him love him banana chips, him love him bun and cheese, and I don't know which part of the world them go find them the same thing there.
Relax, Mary, what you talk about? This handy boy got the corner shop and make him harder what he want.
What you want talk about corner shop? You know, see the boy there all the way in Middle America back a God back. You think we there Jamaica?
No, darling. Get with the times, man. Modern technology we are talking about. The corner shop online. KingstonCornerShop.com.
What?
Kingston Corner with a K shop.com. And him just order the thing them and them ship it right to him destination. So him can get up a man in time and make him little plantain porridge. For lunch, him can eat some bully beef with little onion cut up in there. And then for dinner, him can boil the great Jamaican cock soup.
So him really won't miss home so much.
So say it with me and set your heart at ease. KingstonCornerShop.com.
Looking for a medical doctor? Hey, look no further. Dr. France Jasmine for all your medical needs. Dr. Jasmine specializes in immigration medical examination form I-693, citizenship test exemption form N-648, DOT certified for medical examination for all CDL drivers, including bus and truck drivers, pre-employment examination, school medical examination. Call today, don't delay. Call Dr. Jasmine right away. 718-994-8932. Located 3919 Dyer Avenue off 233rd Street in the Bronx. Dr. France Jasmine, board certified.
The newly renovated dining room at the Door Caribbean Restaurant is something to talk about. Talk about being exquisite, elegant, and truly sophisticated. It's a must-see and something you'll be talking about for a long time. The Door Caribbean Restaurant, because you deserve nothing less.
Andrea, is who baked this fruitcake?
What you mean? I did.
But you can bake.
Yes, I can.
But when you find the time?
Didn't need any. It's Annie Lou Cake Mix.
Annie Lou Cake Mix. Just add eggs and butter. Mix for 3 minutes and pop in the oven for a real Jamaican fruitcake at half the price of baking from scratch. This is not cake mix. It's who really bake it for you.
Annie Lou. And there's Annie Lou soaked fruits if you want to bake your own cake from scratch.
Annie Lou Jamaican Fruitcake Mix. All of the flavor, none of the fuss.
Yeah, no, this is Christopher Martin, the Steppin' Raisin. You're in tune to Groovin Radio. Grooving was made for love. Grooving was made for love. Stay tuned to Groovin Radio. Martin says so.
That is so right, ladies and gentlemen. Groovin Radio was born out of pure love. It is now time to share more love in and around the community. It is time for our community engagement segment. And this Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen, nurturing the spirit of excellence, the Friends of the Garvey School invites you to celebrate her story. Yes, indeed. In recognition of Trailblazing Woman, Friday, March 27, 2026, at the United Church of Jesus Christ, located at 3956 Bronxwood Avenue in the Bronx. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us this morning to have this conversation about her story is the founder of the Garvey School, Miss June O'Connor. Good morning, Miss O'Connor. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm doing very well. We've gotten away from underneath all that snow mountain, and so we're coming out again.
Well, you know, it's been a winter. It's been a winter to talk about, but we're slowly getting out of it. How are you doing this morning, Miss June O'Connor?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Ras Clem. You're such a community person, a community builder, community engager, an education advocate. It's amazing and powerful and inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you for those kind words. As Friends of Garvey School get ready, Miss O'Connor, to celebrate her story in recognition of Trailblazing Woman. And I'm looking at something here, and speaking of a trailblazer, and she once said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring your own folding chair. And that were the words of Shirley Chisholm, who ran for president many years ago. Talk to us about her story.
Oh, my goodness. What an amazing story. She wrote her book, and the title is Unbought and Unbossed. Because she was a trailblazer in that she was the first black woman, congresswoman, especially from that area in Brooklyn. She actually learned to speak Spanish, and so she was able to engage the community populace in such a way that they voted her in. But when she went to Congress, they pretty much threw cold water on her, told her she wasn't welcome here. And she said, well, you're not the one who brought me here. The people put me here. So I'm here to serve them. And so would not offer her a seat and, wouldn't allow her voice to be heard. But she told her story so powerfully. And the way I knew that she was able to do that so confidently, because she had a sense of self. This woman is coming out of an informed parenting and schooling environment in her early years that taught her about Garveyism, that taught her about herself, that taught her about the unapologetic wealth of her legacy. And so she was able to tell her story. And so the rest of us are standing on her shoulders. And we are living in the legacy, in the wealth. It's a wealth that we under acknowledge, Ras Clem. It's an amazing wealth that gives us a kind of empowerment that is marginalized, that is not acknowledged, that is not explicit and direct and bold enough to influence our children. And so our Her Story event is definitely an opportunity to get a number of women also locally who are trailblazers, community entrepreneurs, community builders, and who are standing on the shoulders. And so if we can get the presence of these people like Shirley Chisholm, Ida B. Wells, and all those women, along with our local women who are doing the grinding work of advocacy and community building. And that's what Her Story is all about.
You know, Miss O'Connor, I'm going to do something about these powerful women in Women's History Month, because in Black History Month, for some reason, for some forsake reason, we don't hear much about the Claudette Clovins of the world. We don't hear much. We don't hear much about the Shirley Chisholm of the world. And you know, oftentimes, you know, they just drop names here like the Rosa Parks and stuff like that. And you know, even Maya Angelou. We don't hear much about these powerful women during Black History Month. So let's make it a date, and you know, Black Women's History Month. Let's highlight these great women. But on Friday, March 27th, inside the United Church of Jesus Christ, located at 3956 Bronxwood Avenue in the Bronx, you, along with friends of the Garvey Schools, Garvey School, are going to be celebrating Her Story. Just frame this for the listeners so they could understand what will be taking place.
So they're coming into a room where we're acknowledging, you know, the Colvins and the Chisholms and the Ida B. Wells and the Maya Angelou's. But there are a number of women in our community also who need to be acknowledged. And so our community will say thank you to them. We have citations from the congressman, from the city council, from the bar president. So we have a number of our political representatives who will be there as well to acknowledge these women and to join in our affirmation of the wealth of the legacy that we've inherited from other women. So it's good music, it's some good food, and it's a good gathering of affirmation and acknowledgement, and I would say above and beyond, more importantly, modeling for our youth what it means to acknowledge the legacy of these women.
You know,
so I hope everyone joins us.
Indeed. You know, Miss O'Connor, I just wish our community will just pause for a moment and understand, you know, what's really happening. Because if we don't tell our story, if we don't tell her story, if we don't, and you know, we like to talk about Black history, and we like to talk about history on a whole, understanding, folks, that Black history is American
heading into
history,
the State of the Union.
And too often they have wiped it away. So let's do this. Let's tell our story, because they're not going to tell our story in the way we want it to be told.
Like me, you are
they'll tell us what they want to tell us. So it's going to take a body of us to tell our story. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm inviting each and every one of you in the sound of my voice to come out to the United Church of Jesus Christ, located at 3956 Bronxwood Avenue in the Bronx, on Friday, March 27th, starting at 5 p.m. Refreshments will be served. Some great food will be served, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that Fish and Things will be in the building providing some food. So, Miss O'Connor, is there a telephone number that folks can reach you on so they could get some more information?
Yes. I'm going to put my cell phone number so that I don't miss any at all. 646 851 5634. 646 851 5634, or email info@garveyschool.org. That's an easy one too.
Indeed.
info@garveyschool.org. And there's no charge, Ras Clem. We're not charging people to come in.
There is no charge.
There's no charge.
So ladies and gentlemen, it's a friendly event. It's a no charge event. So please support this great event, ladies and gentlemen. Her story, and it's brought to you by the Friends of the Garvey School. You're listening to the founder of the Garvey School herself, Miss June O'Connor, on Friday, March 27th, inside the United Church of Jesus Christ, 3956 Bronxwood Avenue in the Boogie Down Bronx, in recognition of trailblazing women. Please come out and support this event. Call Miss June O'Connor at 646-851-5634. That is 646-851-5634. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before you go, Miss O'Connor?
Thank you very much, Ras Clem, and I'd like our audience to remember what Shirley Chisholm said. We are creating our own table. We're creating our own chairs. We're not allowing anyone to tell our story, because our story is too powerful to be told by anyone else.
You know, if you look at Shirley Chisholm, and you look at the fact that how many black women and Hispanics and black men and stuff like that have gone into the realm of Congress, and you know, and you look at the fact that we had a black woman as a vice president in these United States of America. They stand on the shoulders of one and only Shirley Chisholm. Ladies and gentlemen, please support this great event. Call Miss June O'Connor at 646-851-5634. 646-851-5634. Thank you so much, Ms. O'Connor.
Thank you very much. God bless.
You're very welcome. You too. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the founder of the Garvey School, Miss June O'Connor, talking about their event, her story taking place on Friday, March 27th, inside the United Church of Jesus Christ. Well, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. Everything is almost falling apart. Mass layoffs are now expected at Stanley & Black & Decker manufacturing plant. They're now saying they're going to be cutting half of its workforce. At the same time, overnight last night, CBS News reported that Papa John's is closing hundreds of locations. Papa John's is the latest pizza chain to close hundreds of locations following a tough quarter, as customers are now pulling back on spending. What is really going on? Because I understand that in the State of the Union, it was said that everything is cook and curry. Everything is going well. It doesn't seem as if everything is cook and curry. CNN, AI is gobbling up the world's memory chips, sending cell phone prices to a record high. The report estimated that the average selling price of a smartphone will be raising by 14% this year, bringing a cell phone to an all-time high of $523 per phone, while manufacturers will no longer be able to make a phone that will cost less than $100. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. I got brand new music from Christopher Martin. He says, don't cry. Don't cry. Brand new music from Christopher Martin. Hey.
Your friend them tell us something about me and it hurt you.
Hey.
Which one of them?
Hey.
I can't believe so I tell you me no deserve you. Me no want come between you and your friend.
That's right.
But if me tell you what she do, me would have certain.
I come home from the lab, look at her purse. Lipstick, passion tape. See, there's no eye in here.
Don't want to see you cry.
Here, there was one in there. And she did lift up the bacon without a
potholder. And what about all that?
So, ladies and gentlemen, tell a friend to tell a friend that Groovin Radio is live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. on GroovinRadioNY.com, Irie Jam Radio, Hot 97.1 FM HD3, ReggaeKingRadio.com, IslandFlavorRadio.com, 92.5 FM in Bergen County. At 10 a.m., we will be joined by the 98.9 FM family in the Bronx and Lower Westchester County area, the Tony Culture YouTube channel, Tony Culture Time app, and WB Radio app.
I didn't see her.
When we come back after the 10 o'clock hour, we're going down to Jamaica for the news.
Wait a second. And inside that bag there's
From JIS.
Just look inside.
Come home from the lab, we'll look at a purse. Lipstick, passion paint. See, there's no eye in here.
She made it disappear. There was one in there. And she did lift up the bacon without a potholder. And what about all that food she cooked for breakfast? You don't have any. Martin again.
Well, you can now stop the crying, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to purchase a house. ABC News reported this week that mortgage rate has fell below 6% for the first time in more than 3 years. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. mortgage rate have dropped below 6% for the first time since 2022, cracking a key threshold after years of pushing borrowing costs that sidelined millions of would-be buyers. Less than 6% for all mortgages now.
Wipe those tears from your eyes and turn that frown to a smile. I saw me want to see you all the while. Don't wanna see you cry. You should see yourself through my eyes. Baby, you know look so pretty when you cry. So I wanna see you happy all the while. They are studio with my friends, all of vibes and such. Melissa send me a DM and say she bored and stuff. See, I tell her woman that and she want link up, and she go bring a couple girls and turn it in a drink up. Me tell her, say me have to tell you why. She said, well, you don't know I won't hurt you, but mood I never touch your friend. That's why me telling you again, girl, I don't wanna see you cry, no. Wipe those tears from your eyes and turn that frown to a smile. I saw me want to see you all the while. Don't wanna see you cry. You should see yourself through my eyes. Baby, you know look so pretty when you cry. So I wanna keep you happy all the while.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, are we seeing the big distraction now that America and Israel has gone into Iran? Is this to take the smoke screen off the Jeffrey Epstein file? I can say this, that they may regret calling the Clintons to testify before Congress, because what Bill Clinton had to say yesterday and what Hillary Clinton had to say on Thursday, this might open the door for the current president to be called in front of Congress.
Turn that frown to a smile. Someone want to see you all the while. Don't wanna see you cry, no. You should see yourself through my eyes. Baby, you know look so pretty when you cry. So I wanna keep you happy all the while.
We will take a break at the top of the hour, and then we forward.
Happy all the while. Nobody listen to Melissa.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet.
Groovin Radio.
Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Groovin Radio with the original Ras Clem.
This is what everybody's talking about.
Hey, this is your girl Sugar. Right now you're grooving with Groovin Radio. You don't know Ras Clem.
Hi New York, this is King Jammys, and you're listening to Groovin Radio with Ras Clem.
My heart's racing, I'm shaking, listening to the songs you're playing. I read jam, You are no ordinary station. Yo, what's up? This is Alaine. Keep listening to Irie Jam.
It's all about Groovin Radio. Number one station, Albaro's listening. Fire can't cool this, yeah, fire can't tame. Yo, freedom on fire.
This is Alpha Blondie with his brother Ras Clem on Groovin Radio. Some call him Allah, some call him Adonai, some call him Jehovah, Jesus, Yahweh, Buddha, Krishna, but he's one. Yes, he is one. Like a tree with many branches, many in one. Hallelujah. God is great. Hallelujah. God is one.
Sing it. Tyrus Riley representing for Groovin Radio, you know? All girls who are tight and all man go on, bless up. I'm a grooving, listening to Groovin Radio. Come on, man.
Give praise to Rastafari, and all praises unto Jah. Yeah, Irie Jam a conqueror. Blessed love, this is Lucian Jah Messenger, and it's Irie Jam keeping the music alive. Stay tuned.
There is a place very far from this world, and the only way you can get there is through music. Remember, only music can set you free and fill you with energy to life. Be prepared for a new music transformation, and in a moment, you will be transported to this place. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
Ras Clem.
Yes, New York girls, I hear singer Tyrus Riley representing for Groovin Radio. And do remember, I love you just the way you are, girl. You don't have to change, you don't have to do a thing, no. Just the way you are, girl. Keep grooving with Groovin Radio. Oh gosh!
George Washington Bridge, from the top of the Empire State Building to the Blue Mountain Peak of New York City. It's Irie Jam.
WQHT 97.1 FM HD3.
Andrea, is who baked this fruitcake?
What you mean? I did.
But you can bake.
Yes, I can.
But when you find the time?
Didn't need any. It's Annie Lou Cake Mix.
Annie Lou Cake Mix. Just add eggs and butter, mix for 3 minutes, then pop in the oven for a real Jamaican fruitcake at half the price of baking from scratch. This is not cake mix. This will really bake it for you.
Annie Lou. And there's Annie Lou soaked fruits if you want to bake your own cake from scratch.
Annie Lou Jamaican Fruit Cake Mix. All of the flavor, none of the fuss.
Looking for a medical doctor? Hey, look no further. Dr. Franz Jasmine for all your medical needs. Dr. Jasmine specializes in immigration medical examination form I-693, citizenship test exemption form N-648, DOT certified for medical examination for all CDL drivers, including bus and truck drivers, pre-employment examination, school medical examination. Call today, don't delay. Call Dr. Jasmine right away. 718-994-8932. Located 3919 Dyer Avenue off 233rd Street in the Bronx. Dr. Franz Jasmine, board certified.
The newly renovated dining room at the Door Caribbean Restaurant is something to talk about. Talk about being exquisite, elegant, and truly sophisticated. It's a must-see and something you'll be talking about for a long time. The Door Caribbean Restaurant, because you deserve nothing less.
Lord, me picnic on all the way to Missouri. I mean, I don't know how him will eat at daytime because him love him banana chips, him love him bun and cheese, and I don't know which part of the world I'm going to find them the same thing there.
Relax, Mary, what you talk about? This send the boy got the corner shop and make him order what he want.
What you want talk about corner shop? You know, see the boy there all the way in Middle America, back a God back. You think we there Jamaica?
No, darling. Get with the times, man. Modern technology we are talking about. The corner shop online. KingstonCornerShop.com.
What?
Kingston Corner with a K shop.com. And him just order the thing them and then ship it right to him destination. So him can get up a man in time and make him little plantain porridge. For lunch, him can eat some bully beef with little onion cut up in there. And then for dinner, him can boil the great Jamaican cock soup.
So him really want me swarm so much.
So say it with me and set your heart at ease. KingstonCornerShop.com.
Wait the town and tell the people.
It's a newly renovated VP record store located at 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. We have a wide array of music for you to choose from: reggae, soca, gospel, and rocksteady. We also stock specialty gift items, arts, books, CDs, and vinyl. And for that trendy individual, check out our rhythm-driven clothing. Visit us today, VP Record Store, 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. Open Monday to Friday, 11 to 7 p.m. and on Saturdays, 10 to 7 p.m. Call us today, 718-297-5802. That's 718-297-5802.
Groovin Radio, what make your bad so? Just keep the groove going on and on and on and on. Groovin Radio.
This is your girl, the Caribbean soca queen, Alison Hines, and you're locked on to Groovin Radio with Ras Clem.
Irie Jam, Real Caribbean Radio.
That is so right, ladies and gentlemen. Irie Jam is Real Caribbean Radio. You are listening to the Groovin Radio Experience. Yes, and we are live on Irie Jam Radio, Hot 97.1 FM HD3. We were just joined by the team from 98.9 FM, the Future FM team in the Bronx, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, Yonkers, and lower parts of Westchester County. Good morning to DJ Sean and the fam. Let me take this time to say thanks to each and every one who joined us in the first hour, and thanks to each and every one who are now logging in to the experience. I also want to take this time to say thanks musically this morning. In our musical segment, you heard the music of the one and only Moses Anthony Davis, Order of Distinction, a.k.a. the girl named Sugar, Beanie Man. His music was presented in our music mix this morning, which was brought to you by KingstonCornerShop.com. Also want to take this time to say thanks to my first hour guest from our community engagement segment, the founder of the Garvey School, Miss June O'Connor. They're getting ready to present her story on Friday, March 27th inside the United Church of Jesus Christ, located in the Boogie Down Bronx, in recognition of some trailblazing women, ladies and gentlemen. To support Miss June O'Connor, please call her at 646-851-5634. That's 646-851-5634. You got a brand new song in there from Christopher Martin. It was called Don't Cry. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we are going down to Jamaica for the news from the Jamaica Information Services. But before we get to the news, let me now quickly remind you that Groovin Radio comes your way courtesy of your favorite online store. That is Kingston Corner Shop, corner with a K. The online store that is keeping the Jamaican and the Caribbean families and communities connected to their roots and culture with some classic Jamaican and Caribbean products. www.KingstonCornerShop.com. That is corner with a K. Groovin Radio is also brought to you by the Iriest Jam around town. That is Irie Jam Radio. The legacy continues at Irie Jam, over 30 years of radio broadcast here in the Caribbean diaspora. Stay informed in real time on Irie Jam Radio. To advertise on the Jam, please call 1-800-277-1462. That is 1-800-277-1462. Keep Caribbean radio alive and well. Ladies and gentlemen, Groovin Radio is also brought to you by Bullseye Marketing and Promotion. If you have a product that you would like to get marketed, look no further than Bullseye Marketing and Promotion. Their hotline number is 347-449-7848. That is 347-449-7848. You can tell them you heard it right here on Groovin Radio. Once again, up next will be the news courtesy of white t-shirt and blue jeans. Dale and who? Rockatone will be presenting this one, ladies and gentlemen. A bit of international news before we go down to Jamaica. CBS News is now reporting that Harvey Weinstein has now hired lawyers that represented Luigi Mangione and Sean Diddy Combs. Harvey Weinstein is changing his legal team ahead of a potential retrial on sexual assault charges. I wonder, at his age, will he be able to stand up, ladies and gentlemen? CNN is reporting that celebrity doctor Peter Ada is resigning as a contributor at CBS News following revelation of his relationship with who? No other than Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, no other than Jeffrey Epstein. Well, when Bill Clinton testified in the House Epstein probe, he said, and I'm repeating his words, "I did nothing wrong." The former president, Bill Clinton, said he only had a brief encounter with Jeffrey Epstein and that it ended years before his crimes came to light. And he said, "No one is above the law, including the president." And folks are now asking, when Hillary Clinton testified on Thursday, Hillary Clinton said she has never met Jeffrey Epstein. And this is where the current administration may regret this, because they're now saying that the current president's wife, Melania Trump, worked for Jeffrey Epstein. So is she going to be testifying before Congress? And those questions only came about because they forced the Clintons to testify. And that is why many folks are saying this may backfire on the current Department of Justice and the current administration at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. My name is Ras Clem, and this is Groovin Radio.
News, GIS News, a roundup of government lead stories for the week.
Minister of National Security and Peace, Dr. Horace Chang, has strongly condemned the killing of a 3-year-old child in Denham Town, West Kingston, on Saturday, February 21. Preliminary reports indicate that the child was fatally shot amidst a resurgence of gang violence linked to turf control in the area. The child's father also died in the attack, and his older brother sustained injuries. Dr. Chang says the tragedy is a painful reminder that when violence erupts in communities, it is often the most vulnerable who suffer the gravest consequences. He adds that violence against children is an attack on the future of the country. Minister Chang is urging anyone with information to come forward and assist the police so that the perpetrators may be apprehended and brought to justice. The Ministry of National Security and Peace is reaffirming its commitment to intensify preventative strategies by deepening partnerships across government and the private sector to fulfill its peace mandate and maintain reductions in crime and violence, particularly acts that endanger Jamaica's children and families. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has called on CARICOM member states to address the diplomatic stance regarding Cuba, advocating for what he described as a policy of principled realism. This approach, he explained, seeks to balance a long-standing tradition of regional solidarity with advocacy for democratic reform and a gradual transition towards more open and inclusive economic systems. Dr. Holness was speaking at the opening of the 50th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM in St. Kitts and Nevis on Tuesday.
Apart from our fraternal care and solidarity with the Cuban people, it must be clear that a prolonged crisis in Cuba will not remain confined to Cuba. It will affect migration, security, and economic stability across the Caribbean basin. It is therefore important that we carefully consider this matter and take collective action.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The government has formally established a Ministry of Defense within the Office of the Prime Minister aimed at strengthening national security coordination. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the Jamaica Defense Force, previously managed through the Ministry of National Security, will now be administered directly by the new ministry to ensure stronger coordination at the highest level of government. Following Hurricane Melissa, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management (ODPEM) was moved into the Office of the Prime Minister to ensure disaster response and defense operations function in full alignment.
So both institutions are now coordinated in lockstep to ensure that we are able to deliver the services required both for relief, which we have now effectively ended the relief period. We have now almost completed the recovery period, and now we are entering into the reconstruction period. And in all of those phases of our response to this super phenomenal event, the JDF has been present. As the JDF has been present throughout Jamaica's independent history.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. And $334 million in grants was disbursed to residents of Hanover under the government's Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelter Roofs program. Speaking at the handover ceremony on February 25, Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. indicated that many more residents will receive support under the initiative.
We have 123 persons who will receive $75,000 based on being impacted under the minor category. That's 9.25 million. 740 who will receive $200,000 in the major category, and we have 354 who will receive $500,000 in the severe category.
So far, more than 6,585 households have been assessed in Hanover. Those were some of the top stories making news this week. I'm Joy Kelly.
The GOJ News Recap, weekends right here on this station. A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
I know y'all been waiting on it. Yes, it's that time of the year again.
The year-to-year event.
White t-shirt and blue jeans. So ladies, you already know what time it is. Pull out those jeans. Blue jeans, the tight jeans, the bedazzled jeans, the cut-up jeans. Girl, them jeans to make your booty look sensational. Yeah, those.
Rockatone and Irydale brings you White t-shirt and blue jeans. Saturday, April 18th.
Music by
Platinum Kids.
Mashwork. Broadway Sound.
Hosted by TC.
All going down
at the Compound, 190-01 Linden Boulevard, St. Albans, New York.
And that's not all. There is a $500 cash prize.
And more. Party time from 10 p.m. until 4 a.m. For more info, call 646-533-9300.
Fellas, all my ladies are going to be out there with their tight jeans.
Wait the town and tell the people.
It's a newly renovated VP record store located at 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. We have a wide array of music for you to choose from. Reggae, soca, gospel, and rocksteady. We also stock specialty gift items, arts, books, CDs, and vinyl. And for that trendy individual, check out our rhythm-driven clothing. Visit us today, VP Record Store, 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. Open Monday to Friday, 11 to 7 p.m. and on Saturdays, 10 to 7 p.m. Call us today, 718-297-5802. That's 718-297-5802.
Brand new! Lord, me picnic on all the way to Missouri. I mean, I don't know how him will eat at the time because him love him banana chips, him love him bun and cheese, and I don't know which part of the world I'm going to find them the same thing there.
Relax, Mary, what you talk about? This handy boy got the corner shop and make him harder what he want.
What you want talk about corner shop? You know, see the boy there all the way in Middle America, back a God back. You think we there Jamaica?
No, darling. Get with the times, man. Modern technology we are talking about. The corner shop online. KingstonCornerShop.com.
What?
Kingston Corner with a K shop.com. And him just harder the thing them and them ship it right to him destination. So him can get up a man in time and make him little plantain porridge. For lunch, him can eat some bully beef with little onion cut up in there. And then for dinner, him can boil the greatest Jamaican cock soup.
So him really want me swarm so much.
So say it with me and set your heart at ease. KingstonCornerShop.com.
Looking for a medical doctor? Hey, look no further. Dr. Franz Jasmine for all your medical needs. Dr. Jasmine specializes in immigration medical examination form I-693, citizenship test exemption form N-648, DOT certified for medical examination for all CDL drivers, including bus and truck drivers, pre-employment examination, school medical examination. Call today, don't delay. Call Dr. Jasmine right away. 718-994-8932. Located 3919 Dyer Avenue off 233rd Street in the Bronx. Dr. Franz Jasmine, board certified.
The newly renovated dining room at the Door Caribbean restaurant is something to talk about. Talk about being exquisite, elegant, and truly sophisticated. It's a must-see and something you'll be talking about for a long time. The Door Caribbean restaurant, because you deserve nothing less.
Andres, who baked this fruitcake?
What you mean? I did.
But you can bake.
Yes, I can.
But when you find the time?
Didn't need any. It's Annie Lou Cake Mix.
Annie Lou Cake Mix. Just add eggs and butter, mix for 3 minutes, then pop in the oven for a real Jamaican fruitcake at half the price of baking from scratch. This is not cake mix. This will really bake it for you.
Annie Lou. And there's Annie Lou soaked fruits if you want to bake your own cake from scratch.
Annie Lou Jamaican Fruitcake Mix. All of the flavor, none of the fuss.
It's fresh, it's fun, it's factual. It's loaded with delicious chunks of what's happening in the world of entertainment today. It's your weekly Jamaica 50 E-Report.
Ready?
Welcome. You have now entered into the world of...
And now, coming to you live from New York City, your entertainment guru, Anthony Turner.
Anthony Turner.
When they go low, we go high.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for your entertainment report with your entertainment guru, Mr. Anthony Turner. And Mr. Turner was away, and every time Anthony goes away and goes on some assignment, something big happens in the world. While Anthony Turner was away, we got a big snowstorm, but we also got the news from the Hill that a United States District Court Judge, Aileen Cannon, well, she has now sided with the President of the United States on barring the release of former Special Counsel Mr. Jack Smith's report on the Mar-a-Lago documents case. I wonder if Anthony was anywhere close to the state of Florida. Good morning, Anthony. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Ras. I was actually wondering, what's the State of the Union?
The State of the Union says the economy is booming, Anthony. And while the State of the Union says the economy is booming, what I see happening is that companies are just going out of business or laying off half their staff. So I don't know which economy is booming. So I'll leave that for another story.
Well, I want to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
I heard that the price of gasoline is $1 something. Where's that? Because I'd love to get some of those gas.
That is down at Mar-a-Lago.
Anyway, the E-Report sponsored by party brand Blow and Bougie, known for producing elevated high-end experiences. An event returns tomorrow, March 1st. It's going to be at the Green Tree Country Club over there in Davenport, New Rochelle, and it promises to be an unforgettable evening, and you could log on to blowandbougie.com to purchase your tickets, or you could call Jerry 914-505-7481 to get more information. And Ras Clem, it was a night of deep emotion, and this was at the National Arena in Kingston last night. The Reggae Month 2026 activities reached its peak when reggae singer Ken Boothe officially took his place among the immortals. And it wasn't just about awards, it was a celebration of resilience and enduring gold standard of Jamaican music. And Boothe was inducted in the Jamaica Music Museum Hall of Fame, and this was done by the Honorable Babsy Grange. Boothe's induction was a tribute to 60 years of silky soul that define rocksteady and reggae. And the moment was bittersweet. I don't know if you saw it, as Boothe, now 77, Facing the early challenge of Parkinson's disease, he arrived in a wheelchair. But as he took the mic, Ras Clem, the legend was far from silence. Backed by the Reggae Symphony Orchestra, he moved the full house to tears and rapturous applause with a short, spirited set of hits like Puppet on a String, Artie Bella, among others. And he wasn't alone in the spotlight, because the star-studded lineup included Etana, Romain Virgo, Richie Stevens, and Luciano the Messenger. They all serenaded the icon in a musical embrace that shook the arena. And beyond the Hall of Fame, the Reggae Gold Awards honored 15 other industry stalwarts. People like Frankie Campbell of Fab Five Band, who received the Minister's Lifetime Achievement Award, Pinchers, Tristan Palmer, Little John, Tony Rebel, producer Mikey Bennett, broadcast legends Elaine Wint and Winston Barnes. They were all honored. So we have to say big respects to Oliver Babs-Grange for another well-attended, well-executed event. And definitely it was a little bittersweet to say Ken, having seen him last at Groovin in the Park a few years ago, he definitely is not the same, but his voice still remains timeless.
Indeed.
Anyway, tomorrow, Sunday, March 1st, leadership will be honored here in New York when Blue and Bougie presents the Alison Roach Wilson Legacy Award, and this will be presented to her husband, Omar Wilson, family at the Green Tree Country Club. And when you think about the CG, the former CG of Jamaica to New York, her life has been defined by resilience and purpose. And after experiencing homelessness, she rose to become a respected Wall Street executive, holding a senior role as the vice president at Bear Stearns before her appointment as Jamaica's 11th Consul General to New York in 2019. And the inaugural Alison Roach Wilson Legacy Award is going to be presented by Ariel Bowen, the officer in charge at the Consul General here in New York, in recognition of the CG's extraordinary service and lifelong commitment to the Jamaican diaspora. And finally, for its 8th-year anniversary, the Love and Harmony Cruise, they're expanding its legacy with a powerful spiritual chapter, Gospel at Sea, and sailing during the Easter 2026 weekend, April 1st to 6th. The cruise will feature gospel stars Minister Marion Hall and Dr. Colleen Davis, culminating in a live Easter Sunday concert. The cruise will also include an Easter Sunday worship service at sea, with Minister Marion Hall hosting a service at 11 a.m. And this is really going to be a very first for the cruise. Ronnie Tomlinson from Love and Harmony told me. And some of the other confirmed acts for the Love and Harmony 2026 cruise include, of course, the captain himself, Beresford Hammond, Maxi Priest, Business Signal, Romain Virgo, Agent Sasko Pinchers, and Tanya Stevens. So, big lineup for Love and Harmony cruise.
Indeed.
2026.
Indeed. Well, Anthony Turner, a few more notes before you go. And here I have it. A Kingdom Work production will be presenting an original whodunit murder mystery, a dinner theater event, and this will take place over there on Saturday, March 7th in New Jersey at the United Methodist Church in Orange, New Jersey. A whodunit mystery played, Anthony, a mystery at Daddy's Joe's Cafe. For more information, please call Diana Hume at 908-477-1670. That's Diana Hume at 908-477-1670. And speaking of honoring women, Anthony Turner, there will be a luncheon on Sunday, March 29th. At the Capitol Grill, honoring no other than our former Consul General, the late Mrs. Alcione Roach Wilson, and this is being done posthumously, ladies and gentlemen. On Thursday, April 2nd, the Rossi's Brothers and Sisters Foundation will be presenting their 2026 Fish Fry in the Bronx. Please call Troy at 646-872-7879. Team Jamaica Bickle is getting ready for their Labor of Love Gala, Anthony Turner, and this will take place on Sunday, April 1st inside the Crest Hollow Country Club. For more information, please call 646-498-9816. St. Andrew Technical High School will be celebrating 65 years starting this year, starting on April 12th until April 18th in Fun City, Kingston, Jamaica. And then on Friday, April 17th, the legacy continues. The American Foundation for the University of the West Indies, their 29th annual Legacy Gala. And guess who will be honored, Anthony Turner? The Honorable Dr. Andrew Michael Olness. He will receive the Legacy Awards. For more information, please call Miss Anne-Marie Grant at 212-759-8095. And there you have it, Anthony Turner, rounding out the entertainment report. Anthony Turner, we wish you all the very best alongside Jerry for Blue and Bougie tomorrow inside the Green Tree Country Club. Talk to you later, Anthony.
All right, you take care, man.
One love, one love. It's up next is Mic Check, ladies and gentlemen. Stick and stay. We will be talking the role of black churches, the role they played in the civil rights movements, and their role today.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more back thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can.
That's right. The world won't get no better.
The world won't get no better
if we just let it be.
If we just let it be. Na, 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now.
Just you and me.
You and me.
Indeed. Wake up all the teachers and doctors.
Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well.
That's right.
They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hair. But they don't have so very long before their judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away?
It is the wake-up call.
Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land.
That's right.
I know we could do it if we all lend a hand.
Indeed.
The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out. They do it every time.
This world.
The world won't get no better.
And that is what I say every Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen. This world will not get any better if we just let it be. I need a little helping hand. I can't do it alone. I'm going to need your help, ladies and gentlemen. We all come together and make this world a better place. Many came before us. They came together. And that is why the world we're living in today is much better than way back when. It is now time for our featured segment. It is called Mic Check, Sparking Global Changes. This morning we will be talking black churches. Black churches served as the cornerstone of the civil rights movement by providing central meeting spaces, organizing logistics for protests, and offering essential emotional and spiritual support to activists back then. Building communities, building solidarities, ladies and gentlemen. And it brings us to this question. Where is the black church? Where are the black churches today? And what role should the churches, not only black churches, but what role should the churches be playing in today's society? I'm going to be joined by Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson from Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn, New York. Good morning, Bishop Nelson. How are you?
Good morning, my friend. It is surely a pleasure.
Indeed, all the time. How are you doing this morning, Bishop Nelson?
Doing well. Today's a beautiful day.
It is.
So in spite of the winter conditions, having lived in Canada for a number of years, this is just a part of the good old days. So it's any day above ground, it's a good day.
Indeed. I woke up this morning, my 2 feet touched the ground. This is the day the good Lord has made, so let us all rejoice in it and be glad. Glad to have you here this morning.
It is my pleasure.
Yes, man. How have you been, Bishop Nelson?
Well, we've been, busy doing several things, but things that really makes a difference. So I always believe once you're living on purpose, every day is a good day.
And before we end the conversation this morning, I want to talk about the community you're building there in Fun City, Brooklyn. But we want to start off this morning talking about black churches and the role black churches played back in the civil rights movement. My opening statement, I mentioned that black churches serve as the cornerstone of the civil rights movement. Let's go back then and look at the fact that the Baptist Church, and every time we talk about the civil rights movement, we talk about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. We talk about his father. They all being preachers, and we just lost Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who was an ordained Baptist minister. The black churches played some significant roles in our development. Talk about that, Bishop Nelson.
This is quite an important topic because it's a remind many of our younger people, especially of African descent, many of the liberties they take for granted today literally came on the sacrifice of those who came before. And so when we even talk about the black church, and folks have different philosophical versions or constructs about the black church, but the black church literally emerged out of being excluded from this space. So out of rejection, we find black people coming together and embracing the scripture and the themes of liberation and emancipation, and the idea that God is for everyone, that God has no preference for anyone based on their race or ethnicity. And so in many ways, the black church became the bedrock of the changes in society as the champion for justice and equality, not just for black people, but for humanity in general.
Bishop Nelson, when you look at, again, the role that even Dr. Martin Luther King played, and in the end, Dr. Martin Luther King realizes that the struggle wasn't only for black people. And you just mentioned that, the black churches didn't just help black folks. Dr. Martin Luther King realized that in the end, almost at the end of his life, not even knowing that he was going to be assassinated, he actually started building a village that would serve blacks, whites, Indian, everybody, because he realizes that the fight wasn't just about black folks. Poor white folks, poor white folks needed some kind of refuge. Poor Indians, everybody needed somewhere to go. And a Baptist minister was at the front of that. Wasn't that some amazing work by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King?
Not just for MLK, but when you think of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, when you think of the Christian Methodist Episcopal, when you think of the Church of God in Christ, the National Baptist Convention, then the Progressive National Baptist, so you're talking about large denominations that in their own way have been on the vanguard of justice. And as you're quite aware, many times, and we salute Dr. Martin Luther King and the other major, John Lewis, Malcolm X, Thurgood Marshall. These are individuals who many have been on the forefront. I always love to celebrate those whose names were never printed. So there were a lot of foot soldiers who sacrificed time. They sacrificed their own security, and their names may never be recorded in history, which means many times we oftentimes are reluctant to getting into the fight for justice if we're not on the front line. But the reality, not everyone can be up front, not everyone can be the leader. We have to look at the cause and the partnership. And that's one of the things I challenge many of our folks. You know, one person said it so well. You know, one guy says, if he's not leading it, he won't contribute to it. I said, that's the very philosophy that destroys people. We have to come to a common cause. Recognize that the issue of injustice impacts all of us, and coming together for the future generations is essential, that we do our part, whether we're on the front line or whether we're at the back line, but that we are all moving to ensure that the next generation doesn't have to fight the same issues we're fighting today.
You know, Malcolm X once said that if you're going to be a good follower, you must have some leadership qualities, and that is very profound. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the voice of Dr. Bishop R.C. Hugh Nelson from the Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn. We're talking the role of the black churches. You know, when you look at leadership development, when you look at the fostering of nonviolence resistance, while fostering economic and education and social services, the churches played such a significant role. I wonder how we're going to be able to reach some of these folks, and Dr. Nelson, for them to understand the significance of again, the role of black churches back in the days during the civil rights movement. I mentioned leadership development, fostering nonviolence resistance, while at the same time fostering economic, educational, and social services. Great work, huh?
Well, you have your finger right on the pulse. My philosophy is that if we're not adding value to our community, we are depriving ourselves of the major reason God placed us where we are. So while we preach about heaven after we die, God has also called us to invest, to envision. We talk about development. Now, one of the things we are challenging our young people is to think like an entrepreneur. So instead of getting a degree to go find a job, your job can create employment for others. So you have to think now, not in terms of finding a job, but literally creating a job that will help to revitalize our community.
For all the years that you're ministering, Bishop Nelson, do you see a decline in folks wanting to come together, especially in the church setting? And if yes, why so?
I think several issues. I've traveled. I've lived in the Caribbean. I've lived in Europe. I have lived in the United States. I've lived in Canada. I've traveled around. One of the interesting things I find, many times we still allow our national identity to deprive us of our collective work. So I say to our congregation, which just so happened to have been started by Jamaican immigrants, that our mission is to embrace, not allow our national identity or our land of birth to rob us. When the ship left Africa, some ships ended in the Caribbean, some ended in North America, some ended in South America. And we have got to recognize that where you were born is an issue of accident, but God has called us to champion our resources, come together in a collective, and help to build for a stronger community, especially as black people. So we don't have the luxury to say, well, you're from Trinidad, I'm from Barbados, I was born. No, we're here. We have one common enemy in terms of injustice and racism, and we now have got to make that step across those barriers. One of the things, when you think of the continent of Africa, the wealthiest continent in the world, The problem is the wealth of Africa is not owned by Africans. And Europe strategically divided up Africa, and as a result, their national identity oftentimes cross tribal identity. And so what ends up happening is you're weakened because you're now fighting internally rather than looking in a broader way.
Stay informed in real time, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Groovin Radio Experience live on Irie Jam Radio. We are in our featured segment. It is called Mic Check, Sparking Global Changes. You know, you said you lived in the Caribbean, you lived in Europe, you lived in Canada, and you're now here in North America. When we talk to folks about going to church, Bishop Nelson, one of the first things a lot of people say, well, I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in Christianity. Well, within the church, ladies and gentlemen, within the church realm, there is spirituality, there's fellowship, and there's connection. What would you say to those folks, Bishop Nelson, who have a view that they should not go to church? What would you say to those folks?
Well, see, again, the church is not perfect. And oftentimes we allow church hurt or even what we call duplicity or hypocrisy of the church to confuse our need for God. So we need a community. And what a church does, it provides not just a spiritual connection, it also provides it's a community where one can grow, one can recover. Many times, and unfortunately, we have now gotten to a place where some people believe they do not need the church engagement. Well, I can tell you, you can't function without God. And especially with all that's going on in the world today, if you do not have a spiritual anchor, you're going to be tossed here and there. So what a church does, it provides a place of centering. You would never find a perfect pastor, never find perfect church members. None of us are perfect. But the idea of a redemptive community, people who recognize that regardless of where we have been, God has a plan, a purpose for every one of us. So even when we dedicate babies, we remind those parents, this child is not here by accident. God has a purpose for this child. Now, your responsibility is to nurture this child, to discover its divine purpose, and to walk therein.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the voice of Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson. He is from the Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn. You know, fellowshipping and connecting in the house of the Lord. What can we do today, Bishop Nelson, to ensure that we don't lose another generation of youngsters? How can we connect with them so they could understand the importance and the role that Black churches played so we could be here today, even having this conversation?
You talk about history. So, I mean, and Marcus Garvey, one of my heroes, challenge us. If you don't know your history, if you're not aware of your roots, you're going to be that ploy. You're going to miss the mission over your life. One of the things I say to Black pastors, we can no longer see church as just a gathering place to pray or to worship. That is important, but the church has got to begin to re-engage in the existential issues of humanity. So we've got to speak to the issues that affects people's lives. So to some degree, some people believe that the church is almost redundant because we gather, we worship, and we go back to places of defeat, unemployment, lack of housing. So the church now has to re-engage. Where do people live? What are the issues? So we run groups. We run groups, mental health group. Why? Because we're having an issue of mental stress. We talk about you could live in a place like New York City, population of millions of people, and still feeling lonely and isolated. So we create small groups where individuals can come together around social or even hobbies so that they can build community. And so many, we talk about challenging individuals. If you're unemployed, is it possible that God might be creating a business person? So that means your difficulty in finding a job might literally force you to create one, not just for yourself, but for other community members as well.
You know, Bishop Nelson, I know people pray for all different causes. People pray and worship for all sorts of reasons. But then these are some of the same people who it's only when they're, hitting a nail and the hammer hit their finger, you hear them bawl out for Jesus Christ. No. And I didn't want this one to sound that funny, but why is it so, Bishop Nelson? It's only when people seems to get sick, it's only when people seems to get hurt, that they call on the name of the Lord. Why so, Bishop Nelson? Why?
It's because we're wired to feel that sense of independence. And it oftentimes takes a crisis to remind us that we're not as much in control. I do funerals all the time. The reality is I do funerals for young people just as much as I do for seniors. We talk about young people having strokes, young people manifesting various diseases that we thought at one point, no, this is an old people, issue. So reminding folks that we're pilgrims. In other words, tomorrow is not promised to you. I had to officiate a funeral some months ago, and the sad thing is that when I walked into that funeral home, I had two other individuals with me who came to support the family. There were just 6 of us standing around that casket. 6 of us. I had to help carry the casket out to the hearse. And I thought to myself, imagine a person who has lived in this city for many years. And at the funeral, there were 3 strangers, and in total, only 6 of us. And then you could go to another funeral and see the masses show up because of how that person's life impacted the community. So I say to folks, don't try to build a friendship when you're in a crisis. Build a friendship before you need a crisis. Because at some point, you're going to need a friend to show up for you. So this idea of being independent, I don't need anybody, that comes out of an immature space. It's an ignorant place. The bottom line, we all need community. And I challenge, and this is my prayer, I've been now pastoring Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center, formerly Church of God of East Flatbush, for the past 23 years. And my prayer has always been, God, help me to lead a congregation that if I was not the pastor, I would gladly bring my family to worship here. That's my philosophy. So if we can't add value to your life, I say to folks, if your church is not adding value in terms of your thinking, your worldview, in terms of your preparation for the future, you need to find a place that will add value, not only to you, but to the future generations.
Bishop Nelson, when you go back to the civil rights movement, during those times, when you find churches like the Emmanuel Church in Charleston, South Carolina, that was burned to the ground, and you talk about the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, in 1963, in which 4 little girls were killed and others were blinded and dozens of people were injured. Why was it so back then, that those folks were so cruel to people who were going to churches, especially black churches, that they found it fit to burn these churches down?
And because the church was seen as a threat. The church was seen as the place that was affirming the dignity of the human experience, regardless of race or ethnicity. The reality is we're probably the most embracing people you find on the face of the earth. I mean, a total stranger. That young man who shot those people in that prayer meeting.
Yes.
He shot in that place, and they embraced him.
Yeah.
They didn't reject him because of his race. We're the most embracing people because we know what it's like to be on the other side.
Yeah.
And the Black church has been a consistent resource in affirming, in strengthening, in advocating for the Black community. I can tell you, as a pastor, a significant portion of my time is spent mentoring young boys. So we have young boys growing up in fatherless homes. Their mothers bring them to church. But you know, at some point, that young man begins to ache for his father.
Yes.
And if he doesn't find positive male mentors, he ends up in the gang, then ends up in prison. So we have to get ahead of the game. And you just mentioned something about our young people. We cannot spend so much time with our seniors.
Yeah.
And miss the fact that our young people need our love, our affirmation, and our direction.
Yes, we have to find a way to connect. Yeah, we have to find a way to connect to the youngsters, and we have to catch them at a very, very young age. At the top of the hour, we're going to take a break. I want to say good morning to the rest of the family at Irie Jam. The Fact of the Matter will be up next with Erwin Clare as we break away from the Irie Jam family at the top of this hour, but we will continue on 92.5 FM, 98.9 FM, Reggae King Radio, the Tony Culture Times YouTube channel. We're also on Groovin Radio NY.com, Reggae King Radio, and Island Flavor Radio. Our special guest this morning is Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson, and he heads up the Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center down there in Brooklyn. When we come back, Bishop Nelson, I want to talk about spirituality, Christianity. I want to talk about the community that you're building down there. And I see other churches such as the Abyssinian Baptist Church, how they're building a little community there in Harlem. And I think that this is what our community needs. Not only providing church services on Sundays or Saturdays or Wednesdays and prayer meetings, but looking out for the community at large, making sure the community surrounding these churches are well taken care of as best as the churches can. So, folks, as we talk about the role of Black churches, the role Black churches played in the civil rights movement and our development here in these United States as a people, yes, we need to engage ourselves with some spirituality. We need to fellowship. We need to connect, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, we don't want to lose the youngsters. We're living in some serious times, right, Bishop Nelson?
No, I can tell you, you look right around us. Politically, economically, we are definitely, we're living in times we have not seen before. Go ahead.
You know, every time I look at a news break, Black & Decker is laying off half their staff. Papa John's is closing thousands of stores. AI is the reason why the company Block, laid off half their staff. The Washington Post just let go half their staff. We're living in some serious economical times, huh?
And so if we now are not preparing our people to stay pace with the change in technology, we're going to be left behind. So a lot of things we have taken, think of the man who worked with repairing the shoes, the horseshoe.
Yeah.
The blacksmiths. As the world became more industrialized, if he could not foresee automobiles as the regular means of transportation and make the adjustment, after a while, you get up one day, you're left behind.
Indeed.
The world is shifting quicker. We talk about the industrial revolution, the technological revolution. The world is shifting in a pace that I can tell you it's gone to. Some people are still not even aware
of what's happening.
Systemic shift, which is taking place right now.
Indeed. Stay where you are, Bishop Nelson. Grab a cup of coffee. We come back in 3 minutes after the 11 o'clock hour. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Groovin Radio. My very special guest this morning talking about black churches is no other than Bishop Dr. R.C. Nelson, Hugh Nelson from the Ebenezer Urban Ministry in Brooklyn, New York. Stay where you are, sir. Stay where you are.
Thank you, will do.
Hey, this is your girl Sugar. Right now you're grooving with Groovin Radio. You don't know Ras Clem.
Barry G's on the go, but I have time for Groovin Radio. Hosted by Ras Clem. Catch it if you can. Saturdays, 9 a.m.
Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed.
Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed.
It is the wake-up call.
No more backward thinking. Time for thinking ahead.
It is time for forward thinking.
Changed so very
it has.
From what it used to be. There's so much hatred.
War
and poverty.
There is, you know. There is.
Wake up, all the teachers, time to teach a new way.
That's right.
Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say.
Indeed.
They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better
if you just let it be.
If we just let it be. Na, 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hair.
That's right.
They don't have so very long before their judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land.
Indeed.
I know we could do it if we all lend a hand.
That's right.
The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out.
We do it.
Do it every time.
Oh yeah.
The world won't get no better.
It won't, you know.
If we just let it be. Na, 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now.
Just you and me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Groovin Radio. And yes, indeed, as Teddy Prendergast and Harold Melvin in the Blue Note says, this world won't get any better if we just let it be. You're listening to the Groovin Radio experience, ladies and gentlemen. Program note, history is a moment capture, but legacy is a torch pass. It is the values, impact, and memories you leave for generation to inherit and built up on. These are some words from my very good friend, Dr. Philip Bedward, who just shared these kind words with me. Once again, we are in our featured segment. It is called Mic Check, Sparking Global Changes. My special guest is no other than Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson from the Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn, New York. Welcome back, Bishop. Welcome back.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure.
Indeed, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue our conversation right here. Before we took the break, Bishop, and we're talking about churches, black churches, and the role that the churches played in the development, the role the churches played in the civil rights movement after the civil war, and continue to play, ladies and gentlemen. I mentioned Christianity and spirituality. Can you break down those two words for me so our listeners can understand those words? Let's
so when we think of spirituality, we're thinking about that which connects us with something bigger than ourselves, beyond nature, the idea of how we find meaning and purpose. Now, Christianity, grounded in Christ's redemptive work for our lives. And so you talk about the role of the Black church. A crucial bedrock in our community, which helped us to discover who we are in God. So in a society that frowned or diminished individuals because of the color of their skin, it was the Black church that reminded them, you are God's creation. There is meaning and purpose over your life. And, I know folks may have different concepts about the church, what they see in terms of the business side, but the reality was the Black church that also spawned educational programs, which evolved into colleges, and so or universities. So even the educational advancement of the Black community came out of the church. And it's unfortunate that sometimes when we have advanced educationally, we discard the very thing that helped to build us up as a people. It's very important that we appreciate. So they're individuals. I look back on some of our older individuals who may not have accomplished much academically or even economically, but they were pivotal in spurring, in encouraging young people to pursue education. So now that we have arrived, and you talk about the layoffs as a result of AI, regardless of where we are, we can never get to a place where we feel failure-proof. The shifts in the economy can cause, jobs to disappear, which is happening right now. And so we encourage individuals, stay humble. Never let what you have in the bank. Never allow your possessions to possess you. So regardless of what you accomplish in life, stay humble and make sure your progress also advance the welfare of others.
You said just now, stay humble, and life have a way of humbling us,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Life have a way of humbling us. And I say to people oftentimes that people will remember the day you were born, and people will also remember the day you pass away. But that dash in between is the most important thing that you're gonna leave. That's your legacy that you're gonna leave.
That's your legacy.
And trust me, folks, life has a way of humbling you. I want to talk briefly about what you think before we get to your ministry there in Brooklyn. I want to talk about what do you think churches should be doing today to ensure that their surrounding, the communities that they're in, come together. How should churches be trying to foster these relationships? What should they be doing?
We have to step out of our sanctuaries and engage our communities. We can no longer just meet in that space. I always remind our congregation that if we just gathered here and it was about us, we would miss our impact. It's not what happens so much in the building as what happens after we leave the building. So the idea is we gather, we look at the scripture, we pray together, and then once we are released, we go back to our communities and we begin to live out the principles. So the idea is there has to be that external focus. We have to become more missional. That's the challenge, because it doesn't matter what you have. If you forget your mission, you're just having a good ride. And you talk about the day we're born, the day we die. Whatever God has entrusted to us should help to raise the quality of life of our community. So we're presently located in Brownsville, 666 160 Powell Street. And our commitment is that Brownsville should be better because God positioned us to be right there.
Wow. Before we get to that community, you once studied in Jerusalem. What was it like being in Jerusalem, doing some of your studies?
So I did theological studies in Germany in a small town called Widdersburg, and I would drive from Stuttgart, and I didn't realize it then, but a part of, before you could graduate, we had to spend a few weeks in Jerusalem doing biblical archaeological studies. So back in 1985, the graduating class, we spent several weeks in Jerusalem, literally traveling the path of Christ and studying the archaeological. I mean, this is what made. When I came back from Israel, looking at the Old Testament was completely different. The Old Testament for me came alive while I was in Israel. And if I know, I encourage believers to take a trip to Israel. It's one thing to read the scriptures. It's another thing to walk the very places that you read about in scriptures. And spending some time in Israel, studying through the Institute of Holy Land Studies and navigating that path was life transforming for me as a young man.
Now, I want to talk about the role because it is said that beside every great man, there is a great woman. And there's a great woman called Reverend Diana Nelson, who is your lifelong partner, and you all ministry together.
For 40 years.
What is it like? What is it like to be ministering with your wife, sir? What is it like?
No, it's too funny because we laugh about it all the time. But Di and I studied at St. Elizabeth Technical High School.
Yeah.
And we were in the same class, 1984, for 1 year, and then afterwards, she joined her parents in England, and years later, I joined my family in London, and actually met again the night before flying out to Germany. Yeah. And so I've known Di since 1984.
Wow.
We got married almost 40 years ago, and has been a phenomenal support in ministry.
Indeed.
We got married, and 3 weeks after marriage, we took all our belongings and moved to Cleveland, Tennessee for me to continue studies in theology. Di has her own established career in microbiology. And so for the past 23 years, has been heading up our nonprofit, the Hope Center Development Corporation, which feeds almost 80,000 people every year. Every Saturday, we provide a hot meal. We provide groceries, the GED preparation, computer training, crisis counseling. So the Hope Center Development Corporation, which functions as arm's length from our church, has been under the capable leadership of Diana and her staff and volunteers. So we're proud of the work that she and the staff are doing in community. We also provide mental health support and domestic violence support for women who are seeking support to recover. So beyond what we do on the spiritual side, we are vested in helping people to live full lives and lives of meaning.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the voice of Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson from Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn. Now, let's talk about the ministry itself and what you and your team are doing there in Brownsville. And you're building like a miniature community in Brownsville. Talk to us about this development.
So back in 2011, we purchased 2 city blocks, which were like chop shops, and we were really thinking about building a larger sanctuary and parking space. And somewhere in the journey, God spoke to my heart. Instead of building a larger facility for the church, build to meet a need in the community. So I met with the board. We discussed what were the needs in the community that we could address. And so affordable housing was what everyone agreed on. So we basically built out a new 43,000 square footage ministry space and 530 affordable housing or apartments above. So with our development partners, Brisa and Presida. So we are grateful that God would entrust to us that opportunity. But so many of the services we provide are directed not so much for our members as for the residents who live above in our building.
Now, how has the community at large, how has Brownsville received this development?
Well, I can tell you once when we purchased those two lots and they were zoned for commercial use only, we had to rezone. And so once we rezoned, the value of the two properties went up $5 million. So I can tell you, once we got those properties rezoned, every property around us rose in value. So that speaks to itself, not just in the services we provide. We were able to hire a housing specialist who provided social service support for the residents. But we're very grateful. And I'm actually challenging other pastors, especially if they have the space, to consider development or what we call multi-usage. So instead of having a building only for a church gathering, have it multi-purpose so that the community can also benefit. We challenge our members that this building is not for us. It is literally for the community. God has just given us the stewardship of this facility. So it shifts our mindset, especially in the urban lands, in a place densely populated like New York City. We have to think differently as pastors. Not only the services we provide for the worship gathering, but also how we add value to the residents around us.
When you look at the services that the Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center offers, how are these services received in the community? You talk about GED preparation. You talk about, providing mentorship. You talk about feeding X amount of people. How are these services received and embraced in the community?
Wholeheartedly. As a matter of fact, we provide our feeding program not only at the location at 409 East 95th, but we also do a distribution at the new location at 660 Powell Street, and we also do a distribution at the Langston Hughes apartments. So I salute our volunteers. We have an army of volunteers who give of themselves wholeheartedly in terms of supporting these programs.
When I look from the outside, Bishop Nelson, and I see how mega churches are supported, it makes me wonder why churches within our communities are not really supported in that fashion. You think there's a key reason for that?
Well, the church in suburbia is usually undergirded by families that in many ways are established. And so you could even have families that have left endowment. Inner city churches have a different dynamic. You're literally serving a clientele that in many ways survive on the fringes. So they may not be able to support the church, but they do need the services. So we provide services without any requirement for membership. And so it's a different dynamic. When you're in the urban setting, you're dealing with people whose survival is much more fragile. Many times they do not have wealthy resources. It's a different kind of clientele, but the need requires that we step in that space, and regardless of the limitation of our resources, leverage our partnerships so that we can bring resources to the community.
Speak directly to our listening audience, Bishop Nelson. Speak directly to them and share with them why you think that they should now, especially in these times, start engaging themselves. I posted something at the beginning of the year about getting closer to God in 2026. Speak directly to our listening audience, Bishop Nelson, or why they should get closer to God.
Well, I tell you, there's an urgency in my spirit when you look. Even if you don't consider yourself a God follower, just watch the news. Look at what's going on globally, and not just politically. You talk about the wars. You talk about the weather patterns. We are in unprecedented times, and we believe that Christ is coming back for a people who are prepared. We believe that there is an urgent sense of the world going through this turmoil. But here's the interesting thing: God is still in control, and so the world is not held together because of our politicians. The world is held together because of a gracious God, and we challenge folks that there's going to come a time when you're going to stand before God and you're going to give an account of how you have lived. And today is the opportune moment. And especially if you're in a crisis or if you're in a place of despair, I'm encouraging you, turn to God, give him a chance, and let him take what you have to offer. Take a life which is broken or a life which is in despair and say, God, I'm surrendering all I am to you. Now take that and use it for your glory. And the beauty is that God, you can't go so far that God can't reach you. You can't go so deep that he can't pull you back up. And so today is the day that God can turn your life completely around if you'll allow him to.
Like I said earlier on, some folks wait for a moment such as when something hit them and hit them hard, that they cry out for Jesus Christ. Let them know that they shouldn't have to wait until those moments, now, Bishop Nelson.
Not until today is the day of salvation. Here's what happens. You may think you don't need God, but I can tell you, he knows exactly where you are. He knows what you're going through. And he sent his son to die for your sins. All you have to do is to turn your life over to him. I'm sorry I have to go back to this point. You said something earlier on about where you went to school in Jamaica, and you went to St. Elizabeth Technical High School, huh? And yes. I have some friends who attended Stets, one in particular is Mr. Donovan Wilson, who is the president of UJA, and UJA is the Alumni Association, a big Stets man. A great friend.
Yeah, man.
And Dr. Bedward also went to Stets.
Yes, man. I know Philip went to Stets.
We were schoolmates. Which is a reminder, you got to be so careful how you live, because
I am telling you, man.
Never know when you run into your past.
Yeah.
And I've been here now 23 years in New York, and I have never run into so many people from my past.
Wow.
Since I came to New York.
Wow. I have some good friends like Paul Bryan, who went to Stets, Winthrop Graham, who went to Stets.
Yeah.
Desmond Pond, Palmer who went to Stets, Joan Lewis who went to Stets. I mean, I have so many friends who attended St. Elizabeth Technical High School, so I can't really bash my Stets friend them. And I know I have a new friend in you, who Dr. Nelson.
Right.
Yeah, who went to Stets.
Some of my long-term friends.
Yeah,
I met them right in Stets.
Wow.
Right in St. Elizabeth Technical High School.
Wow. As we close out, Dr. Nelson, your closing remarks, my friend. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank you, man, for using your platform, not just for entertainment, but also for transformation.
Indeed.
One of the things that we're now inundated with entertainment. You have the, social media that's taking over people's lives. And, amusement has its place.
Yeah.
But many times we forget what it really means. Amusement. Amusement. To muse is to ponder. And so what happens is we oftentimes get caught up in the entertainment and the amusement of our days and fail to ponder. And I really appreciate the fact that you have used your platform not only for entertainment, but also for information that can transform lives for eternity. So I salute you and thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for the work that you are doing along with your ministry, along with your wife, the great work that your team is doing there in Brooklyn. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the voice of no other than Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson. And I'm going to urge you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to urge you to pay a visit to the Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn if you're down there in Brooklyn. Give us your address and time of worship on Sunday. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're located at 660 Howell Street in Brooklyn, New York, and we meet at 8:30 and 11 a.m. on Sundays.
Indeed.
And we do a Bible study on Zoom on Wednesday night. We do different programs which you can reach. As a matter of fact, our telephone number is 718-385-1043. And of course, you can also reach us. Just go Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center. You can find us on social media and on the website.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson. Thank you so much for your time this morning, sir.
Thank you for the invitation, my friend, and God's grace and blessings be upon you and your team.
Thank you, sir. One love. One love.
God's blessings. God bless.
Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our featured segment. It is called Mic Check. You just heard from the bishop down there at Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn, New York. You should pay them a visit. They're doing some great work in Brooklyn, USA. I'm going to take a musical break, a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will be closing out the morning with Open Forum Community Talk. Whoa! Brand new music from Romain Virgo. It is called Be Careful. Jamaica, what's happening in Denham Town? A 3-year-old shot and killed? What is really happening?
Watch out. Hey, listen this. One more youth in the ghetto life lost.
Hey.
Church bell ring, one more hearse pass. One more family whip. One more body gone 6 feet deep. One more youth gone fatherless. One more mother start face beer stress. One more bullet load on the clip. One more youth get pay for make a hit. You want to be careful when you walk the streets in the ghetto. You want to be careful. I won't leave a gunshot to echo. Believe me. Hey, listen this. One more community put up a roadblock and them catch you astray and now fear gunshot. Children can't go to school and the big man I use gonna turn them in a fool. One more then you have to be careful. When you walk the streets in the ghetto,
Gotta say thanks to Donovan Germain for this one, Penthouse Records. Romaine Virgo, you gotta be careful. Check.
Hey, listen, one more family.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. Look over at the CDC and see there was another big departure this week. The deputy director from the CDC abruptly depart the agency. This is the latest in a string of high-profile departure from the Trump administration. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Stan Smith will join us.
Andrea, is who baked this fruitcake?
What you mean? I did.
But you can bake.
Yes, I can.
But when you find the time?
Didn't need any. It's Annie Lou Cake Mix.
Annie Lou Cake Mix. Just add eggs and butter. Mix for 3 minutes and pop in the oven for a real Jamaican fruitcake at half the price of baking from scratch. This is not cake mix. It's who really bake it for you.
Annie Lou. And there's Annie Lou soaked fruits if you want to bake your own cake from scratch.
Annie Lou Jamaican Fruit Cake Mix. All of the flavor, none of the fuss.
Looking for a medical doctor? Hey, look no further. Dr. France Jasmine for all your medical needs. Dr. Jasmine specializes in immigration medical examination form I-693, citizenship test exemption form N-648, DOT certified for medical examination for all CDL drivers, including bus and truck drivers, pre-employment examination, school medical examination. Call today, don't delay. Call Dr. Jasmine right away. 718-994-8932. Located 3919 Dyer Avenue off 233rd Street in the Bronx. Dr. France Jasmine, board certified.
The newly renovated dining room at the Door Caribbean Restaurant is something to talk about. Talk about being exquisite, elegant, and truly sophisticated. It's a must-see and something you'll be talking about for a long time. The Door Caribbean Restaurant, because you deserve nothing less.
Lord, me picnic on all the way to Missouri. I mean, I don't know how him will eat at daytime because him love him banana chips, him love him bun and cheese, and I don't know which part of the world them I go find them the same thing there.
Relax, Mary, what you talk about? This handy boy got the corner shop and make him harder what he want.
What you want talk about corner shop? You know, see the boy there all the way in Middle America, back a God back. You think we there Jamaica?
No, darling. Get with the times, man. Modern technology we are talking about. The corner shop online. KingstonCornerShop.com.
What?
Kingston Corner with a K shop.com. And him just harder the thing them and them ship it right to him destination. So him can get up a man in time and make him little plantain porridge. For lunch, him can eat some bully beef with little onion cut up in there. And then for dinner, him can boil the greatest Jamaican cock soup.
So him really want miss home so much.
So say it with me and set your heart at ease.
KingstonCornerShop.com. Wait the town and tell the people.
It's a newly renovated VP record store located at 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. We have a wide array of music for you to choose from: reggae, soca, gospel, and rocksteady. We also stock specialty gift items, arts, books, CDs, and vinyl. And for that trendy individual, check out our rhythm-driven clothing. Visit us today, VP Record Store, 170-19 Jamaica Avenue. Open Monday to Friday, 11 to 7 p.m. and on Saturdays, 10 to 7 p.m. Call us today, 718-297-5802. That's 718-297-5802.
Brand new! This is your girl, the Caribbean Soca Queen, Allison Hines, and you're locked on to Groovin Radio with Ras Clem.
Groovin Radio, what make your blood suck? Just keep the groove going on and on and on and on. Groovin Radio.
That was the voice of Moses Anthony Davis, Order of Distinction. And before that, you heard from the soca queen herself, the legendary Miss Allison Hines. It is now time for Open Forum, community talk, ladies and gentlemen. And it brings us this morning to a conversation as we close out Black History Month, as we close out Reggae Month, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at Jamaica's cultural development, and we're looking at the role that what we think the diaspora should be playing. Should we get a seat at the table? And a real seat, I'm saying, not just any seat. We have a seat where it seems as if we have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Well, this morning, I am going to have a conversation with veteran broadcaster and music historian, Mr. Stan Smith, has now joined us. Good morning, Stan. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning, Clem, and good morning, audience. How are you? I hope everybody's enjoying the good weather.
Indeed. The diaspora plays a role in Jamaica where when it comes to other development in Jamaica, we're always there. We're always there every time Jamaica get a fever. We send in medication. Every time Jamaica cough, we send in cough medicine. Every time Jamaica needs this, we send in that. But when it comes to culture, when it comes to even some of the music in Jamaica, it doesn't seem like they pay any attention to the diaspora. Case in point, you have a reggae artist born here by Jamaican parentage, or even a youngster come here and get into the music. They say, boy, if you want to bust him off, come back to Jamaica. What's going on, Stan?
First and foremost, with that busting, Swaggy didn't burst in Jamaica and burst here. So that was the common perception at one point. But not anymore. It's still a common conventional wisdom, but factually it isn't true. We have big artists here that have made their name here. And I think most people don't think of her, but I think of Sister Carol, an artist who was starred in 4 Hollywood movies, then had her music performed in the music and on soundtrack, and she's a Grammy nominee. That puts her someplace among female artists. So that part. But I to your point about we not being at the table, there's a comment made by the Minister of Security that was parlayed to me by somebody who heard him say that the diaspora should have shut up and send money to Jamaica.
Really?
Yeah, somebody said they heard that. And it typifies that.
Stan?
Now, the debate as to whether or not Jamaica should have a seat in the parliament is a different one from our influence. We have a diaspora board. There's a struggle going on currently where the government is essentially trying to control it, from what I'm made to understand. And in a nutshell, to not go on too much about it, there isn't enough respect for a diaspora that sends $3.5 billion US to Jamaica every year. That's a lot of money. And has enough professionals that can provide for a lot of the development that Jamaica needs. And this is not to displace anybody in Jamaica. It's just to say we can work to complement. I just think that we have not been given the kind of respect and also utilize the best way that we could in terms of assistance. When for example, I worked with Ear Jamaica as a community rep for 5 years, which required that I go to all of the events that organizations that fed back to Jamaica, gave back is the word they used for that. And there were many. On the UJA, there were many. We can't count the number of organizations that actually give back to Jamaica and a lot of schools and communities and whatnot. Yet, Clem, I don't see a formalized structure where that is actually putting something in place that measures that, figures out how to access it and resource it the best way for the development. And I think, yes, to your point, the short answer is no, we're not. We should be given a seat at the table. And we could, there are areas, for example, where we can provide, we can even be a lobbying group here for policies that the government has.
Yeah.
You know, that we agree with and we can assist. Because every other group I know that have immigrants in this country, people go and advocate for them.
Yeah.
You know,
Stan, I think we must be a part of the conversation. And I say across the board because, you even look at the fact when, in recent years, when there was an opening at J3A's, legendary Donald Quarry ran for president of J3A's. And one of the drawback to Quarry not able to win that seat, that position, they were saying that Donald Quarry spent more time abroad than in Jamaica. But again, and these are the things that I'm saying. It's like we're not even given the respect to be a part of the conversation in many, many ways. And I have a problem with that because I think the diaspora is worth way more than they're letting Jamaicans on the ground believe we're worth, huh?
I think the Jamaicans on the ground, because they're the beneficiary of our efforts. I think they're on the ground. Whether it's appreciated is a separate question. But all right, I'll give you an example. I was just part of a webinar at the University of the West Indies about the contribution of the diaspora to the development of music in Jamaica. Right? I just did it this past Wednesday with Dr. Dennis Howard and Francine Chin and a few, and Eddie Edwards, the commissioner down from Florida, and Willie Stewart. And we talked about that, and I don't think they don't access this again. They don't access us in the way they could and should. And we're not. I don't know why there isn't a organized structure. They say it's supposed to be the diaspora board. I don't know, but I don't. I look at my good friend Dr. Basil Wilson, criminologist. Jamaica has a crime problem. I remember being a part of a group with him called the Research Committee for the Study of Jamaica, where literally we looked at problems and he would write papers. And I mean, he's been invited down to Jamaica, he's on the radio and all that, but they don't access data that could help.
No,
if you understand.
Do you think they're afraid of the input of the diaspora? Do you think so? It's hard.
It's hard to not say that it may well be that because you're here in the diaspora, there's a sort of a culture in Jamaica that seems to suggest, and I think of when my good friend Will Rattigan was trying for the position of Commissioner of Police, and some of the comments I heard coming back was that, well, they're not going to give somebody from outside, so you have to be inside of the country or whatever. So I think there's a certain amount of trepidation about people who are coming in.
I kind of think that was a little bit different, though. And let me say why I think that was a little bit different. They did go to Scotland Yard and they brought in folks like Mark Shields that came from the UK. I think that situation was a little bit isolated, and I'll leave it for another story. But when you look at the wider diaspora and the board the board has been gone. It's now the council. I think there is a disconnect. And what really happened this year with the Global Diaspora Council election, I think it opens up doors where Jamaica should realize that it's time for some real conversations with the diaspora. I don't mean photo ops. I mean real conversations. Having town halls here like what they used to do back in the days.
Yes.
We used to have a lot of town halls with leaders out of Jamaica. We're not seeing those anymore. And I do hope we can get back to those days where we can have legitimate town hall conversations. And when we're having like the diaspora conference, it should be led by folks from the diaspora. And it should be run by folks from the diaspora. And then we communicate with Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? We fellowship with them and we connect with them. But it shouldn't be something where we have to sit there and just take whatever they say and look at it that way. You know what I'm saying?
And you're absolutely right about that, because I remember I attended a number of those town hall meetings, and they were instructive in them feeding back. And one of the importance of that is not just them getting information from us, but them actually on the ground telling us exactly what's happening on the ground in Jamaica. So we were being educated here. But I want to touch something, because you said that they got mark shields. What I've noticed is that there is no problem taking people of a certain hue and a certain race and from outside of the Jamaica, that in other words, they're not connected to Jamaica, and bringing them in as experts to do things. But I can't think of cases where they're brought in us who have expertise in the diaspora to do things in Jamaica. So that's just a side point I wanted to mention. But to your point, I think critical, and the Jamaica Progressive League, I don't know if it still exists, when it existed, used to facilitate these kinds of things. And I think that's one area that I think we should explore some more and kind of pressure them to have it where we have these town halls. I see the Prime Minister having a town hall in St. Kitts.
Right. Well, he's having a town hall in St. Kitts. Reason be, CARICOM met in St. Kitts this week, so he's there. So he's taking the opportunity to do so. But
so why not here? And I'm not talking just the Prime Minister.
No.
I'm talking about the Consul General and the Ambassador and others. Why? Because Jamaicans need to be updated.
1 second.
And we need to know what's going on the ground.
So currently we don't have a Consul General. Currently what we have is an officer in charge who is running the office of the Consul General. And I met with her recently, and I'm encouraging her to stay. I'm encouraging her to become our Consul General. I like her. She seems to be a real diplomat. And this is what I read into our conversation. Miss Bowens, if you're listening, good morning. She is a real professional, and stuff like that. So, the ambassador, I reached out to his office, Anthony Anderson, and he has yet to come and sit and talk to us, and he's been here a minute now. And these are the things.
Here's what I'm trying to understand.
1 second, Stan. 1 second. And here's the thing. These are the folks who, when they come to the U.S., we'd love for them to engage themselves with us. Go ahead.
But here's what I'm asking. Where the diaspora is concerned, I understand he's domiciled in Washington and he has pressing business. This metropole here in New York City and the tri-state area is singularly outside of Florida, along with Florida, the largest concentration of active Jamaicans who impact from the diaspora back to Jamaica. How is it that somebody from his office has not reached out to the community here to find out what type of resources we have? I think they're missing an opportunity when they don't do that.
Yeah, man. There's a major disconnect. And we have to fix it, We have to fix this disconnect, because if we don't, we're going to be in serious problem. Finally, Stan, in 2 minutes. You look at our contribution, especially COVID-19, and you look at Hurricane Melissa, and it shows you the importance of the diaspora to Jamaica, right? So why is it then they don't bring us in, especially now? We just have Black History Month, Reggae Month, and everything, and boy, it's like some things are going on at Jamaica, and it's like just Jamaicans alone they want to be down there, huh?
Maybe people such as yourself, who's currently have one of the top-rated shows in the diaspora and the Eastern Seaboard, could very well start pushing to set up a series where they come in and talk to you and have the public even call in. Because I think because it is necessary for us to know what's going on in Jamaica. I mean, you read in the paper and you see on social media all kind of things, but we need it from the people who are making the policy and who are the movers and shakers. We need to have them so that they can tell us what's going on and we can ask questions. Just to close out on that, I think that's what the component, that disconnect component is missing.
Indeed. Stan Smith, I want to thank you very much. Real quick, sad news coming out of track and field athlete formerly of Kingston College was stabbed to death this week, and news, information are choppy. It's choppy, and it is a sad story. And these young men and young women have to be very, very careful. Understand?
Yes, most definitely. It's tragic, and I understand he was a rising star from talking to a coach.
Indeed.
I understand his coach was one of my classmates at Capital, but that's another story for another time.
Indeed. Gibson Relay is on display in Jamaica today. Stan Smith, next week we have a whole lot of track and field news to discuss. So
yes, definitely.
Stay tuned. Gibson Relay is on display in Jamaica today. Stan Smith, thank you very much, sir.
Welcome and thanks for the opportunity.
One love, my brother. Much love, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of all our talk segments this morning right here on Groovin Radio. I just want to say a big thank you. Thank you to Moses Davis. His music was presented in our musical segment this morning. I got to say thanks to Miss June O'Connor, the founder of the Garvey School. She was our special guest in our community engagement segment this morning. Miss Joy Kelly presented the news from the Jamaica Information Services. Anthony Turner provided entertainment report. Then on Mic Check this morning, as we discussed the roles the black churches played after the Civil War, during the Civil Rights Movement, and the role black churches and churches should be playing in today's society. Our special guest this morning was Bishop Dr. R.C. Hugh Nelson, and he is from the Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center in Brooklyn, New York. You just heard from Mr. Stan Smith just now, ladies and gentlemen, veteran broadcaster and music historian. Yeah, Jamaica needs to be partaking in the development of culture and music, and the diaspora need to be partaking in some of these issues, ladies and gentlemen. You got a brand new song from Christopher Martin in the first hour. At the bottom of the first hour, it's called Don't Cry. You heard a brand new song from Romaine Virgo in the middle of the 11 o'clock hour. And we're going to close out now, ladies and gentlemen. Groovin Radio was executively produced by Clement Yu and hosted by Ras Clem. I got to say thanks to Tony Culture. I got to say thanks to the Bajan King. And I got to say thanks to a few people who have actually engaged us on social media this morning. Tanisha Malcolm, thank you so much, cuz. Maxie DeCosta, thank you very much. Mr. Gerald Bell, Mr. James Ains, Mr. Derek Domain, John Lou Golf, thank you very much. Jackie H.M., who that is. Dane Rose, good morning. Maxine Greaves, Dr. Trevor Dixon. Suzanne Jones, thank you very much. Novelette Davis, that's Dr. Butner. Courtney Mellors from Connecticut. Sanjay from Queens, got to say thanks to Computer Mike. Dr. France Jasmine. Heather Henry Mason, Desu, Janet Henry, Karen John, Aisha Richards, Noel the Dance Master. And if I should go over let me go over here and pull this up. Gotta say condolences to the families of DJ Gringo, who left us this week. I don't know the cause of death. Rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace. Bajan King, big up yourself, my brother from another mother. 98.9 FM, Future FM. They're going over to England. Yeah, they're going to England when Groovin Radio exit this station, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. Secret Service agents, what's going on? They said down there in Palm Beach County, law enforcement officers, yeah, they have gone and they've taken out a man who actually entered some secured area of the of Mar-a-Lago, and they shot and killed that man. What's going on? What's going on with as Canada pledged to assist Cuba? Jamaica's Prime Minister spoke up about assisting Cuba also, and all of a sudden we hear that Jamaica could be facing consequences. I wonder why. My closing remarks here. Folks, please download or log on, get the Tony Culture Time YouTube channel. Groovin Radio is live there, ladies and gentlemen. My closing remarks is from Lisa Marie. I wish heaven had a phone. I wish heaven had a phone.
You know, I wish heaven had a phone. Not for long conversations, not for anything complicated, just a number that I could dial real quick when my heart gets heavy and my memories start consuming the rooms that I'm in. And see, I got like 5 people I would call without hesitations. Numbers I still remember because my hand never forgot how to reach for them. And I've sat with it. Sat with what I would say if I heard that line ring, if heaven had a dial tone, if grief had an extension that I could press. And truth is, I don't know if I have words big enough. Because how do you compress missing somebody into a hello? How do you gather years of absence, birthdays they didn't make, conversations that never got to finish, laughter that vibrates in your chest and make it make sense in a few sentences? But I do know this. If I could just hear that voice say hello, I think something in me would finally release. I think this weird part of my heart that been carrying love and nowhere to go would finally find a place to rest. Because grief is strange like that. It teaches us how to live without ghosts of good memories, how to laugh and hurt at the same time, how to keep going while carrying people that you can no longer hold. And I feel them, I do. They live in my laughter, in my mannerisms, in the way that I love people now with more intention because I know how quickly time can take. And their presence stays with me in the imprints of my spirit like they tuck pieces of themselves into the fabric of who I am before they left. But see, if heaven had a phone, I think I'd ask them simple questions. Like I'd ask them if they're at peace, if it's light where they are, if it feels like freedom on the other side of this stuff that we are carrying down here. And I'd ask them how it feels to be on the other side of pain, on the other side of time, on the other side of a goodbye. And maybe I wouldn't need long answers. Maybe just the sound of their voices, familiar and warm, would be enough to remind me that love doesn't end, but life does. It just changes rooms. It just moves from what we can touch to what we can carry. So until heaven gets a phone line, I keep speaking them in my prayers. Because if love is strong enough to outlive a body, then I know without a doubt, somewhere on the other side of forever, maybe they can still hear me.
Wow. Thank you, Lisa Marie. Thank you, girl. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sending condolences to the family of Oliver Power Grant, a founding member of Wu-Tang Clan, who died this week at age 52. Grant passing comes as the group was named as a nominee for the 2026 class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Barris Hammond will take us home. Grant this morning, a founding member. Nobody wants to say goodbye. It's a part of life.
Every day.
Indeed.
We just live and learn, yes.
That's right. Boss. It's a part of life.
Nobody wants to say farewell. Everybody wants to say hello. Nobody wants to say goodbye. Oh, we all wish you'd never go.
Wish heaven had a phone line.
It's a part of life.
Did.
When your work is done.
Did.
It's a part of life.
It is, you know.
Gotta move on.
Yep.
Part of life. Some can't take it, some won't make it, but it's a part of life, yeah. Don't we all wish that we could live to tell?
Don't we all?
It is a pity we'll never know.
Thanks for your support.
I lost a good friend just yesterday. Feel bad you had to go. Mr. Man, can you help a person falling down? Yeah. Pick him up, take him as you're on.
That's right.
No, it don't take much for you to do. See, one word coming from a person like you makes a difference. We all have our mountains to climb. And sometimes we hate to leave the family behind.
Until next Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen, be very careful out there. News is now saying that immigration, custom enforcement, those guys, they're not properly trained. The system is broken. So says a former lawyer who works for them.
Even the toughest shed a tear. See, no man's an island.
It is also said that Spirit Airline has now reached a deal that take them out of bankruptcy.
But it's a part of life.
Until Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Peace, love, and blessing.
It's a part of life. Got to move on. It's a part of life. Some can't take it. Someone make it. It's a part of life. Yeah. Nobody wants to say farewell. Nobody knows. Everyone wants to say hello. Oh no. Nobody wants to say goodbye. Oh, we all wish you'd never go. We should never go. Ooh. Nobody wants to say farewell. Nobody knows. Everyone wants to say